Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship. All things relationship. Anything relationships, that's what I talk about. Okay, so we're going to get into Mr. Andrew Tate again, part 2. Andrew Tate, American British internet personality misogynist. Question mark, part 2. So hopefully, if you haven't seen part 1, take a look at part 1 so you can understand a little bit more about part 2. So we're going to get into part 2, and I'm going to show like 3 small clips, and then I'm going to show the last clip I'm going to show is his final message. And the final message he did was right after he got banned. Because since he was banned, he wasn't able to go on social media to talk and everything, so he had to do his own thing. I think he did on Vino, I think it is. It could be something like that, whatever, on Vino. All right, so a little bit about Andrew Tate. Okay, let's get into Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, I believe, was born December 14th, and he's about 35, 36 years old. And Andrew Tate, he was born in the United States, and then his parents got a divorce. Let me show a little picture of his parents. All right, give me a sec. I should have had up already. All right, where is the family? Oh, I can't seem to find the family. Oh, there go the family. All right, here's the family right here. So there's mommy and daddy. He has a brother. His brother's name is Tristan Tate. And then his mother and his sister, right? And Andrew Tate, I believe, is the oldest out of them. So they got a divorce, and I believe he was around 10, 11 years old. That's when he came to London, if I'm correct. If I'm wrong, please, I stand to be corrected. Put in the comment section and let me know, right? And the mother, basically had a hard time. They was living in public housing and did the best they do to survive. And then Andrew Tate basically got into the kickboxing world. As he got into kickboxing world, which his brother did too, he won like 4 championships and made some good money. But he felt that it really wasn't enough money for him. He wanted more. So whatever. Him and his brother branched off, and they ended up getting into adult cam. What women do, such and such on the internet, which they made a lot of money from. Then they got into also another world of casinos. So I believe they opened up a few casinos. I don't know how many, but made us a lot of money from that one. So him and his brother basically made a lot of money. But then we got the pandemic came along. As the pandemic came along, I think that's what happened. He lost his casinos. But to rewind back to the cam girls, it was too much of a whole bunch of females living in a house. They all going at it with each other. At one point, the SWAT team came to his house and raided the whole house and saying that he had some girl in there holding for hostage, whatever crap it was. But he was found innocent. It was just a lie. Someone just lied and made a phone call. It's one of those things. They make a phone call, they have to go and check it. And he's not really upset about it because he's glad it was a good thing, because you never know. Somebody could be in danger. Cops are doing what they're supposed to do. So speed up to now. So then he decided, and he got on to the internet, him and his brother. And as he was on the internet, he ended up getting banned because they said that he's a misogynist. He's saying hateful things. He's corrupting the young boys' minds and blah, 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 blah. And I've been watching a lot of videos. I don't agree with it. I don't think so. But some people might do feel that they agree that he does. He should have been banned. It's a good thing. And some people feel, no, it's not right. All right, so we're going to get into the clips. And tonight we have, for the co-host, I have Abby NYC. And then I have, the real Jack Newtown this evening as the co-host too. So Abby, would you want to plug your channel? Let everybody know a little bit about your channel before I get into the videos.
Yes, Donna, thank you so much for the invitation to join you again today. Now how much I love coming up here. My channel is a sort of cornucopia of a lot of things. I am a member of the Mulatto Mafia, which is supporters of the Golden Sphere. And what that means is that's biracial and mulatto people all over the world. So we are really here to salute our brother, Andrew Tate. If you're unaware, you just saw his family picture. Now you know. And I'm here to celebrate him. And under the circumstances of this unfortunate sort of banning of him was our way to introduce him and bring him back to the world. The jury's still out on whether he's done anything so nasty that he should be off the internet, but I will say this: I will stand by him, support him as a fellow brother, and I don't see anything offensive as of yet, and I'm really actually enjoying getting to know him this way. So salute to Andrew Tate from the Mulatto Mafia.
Mm. And another thing I meant to add, I didn't add. Uh, Reasons why he basically got banned, because a lot of people's watching the short clips. People like to take short clips from the long version, so they just going by that. Nobody knows what was said before and what was after. So you judging by these short clips, and you thinking, "Oh my God, he's so toxic. How can he say that about women? How can he say this? How did it?" But did you see what was said before, what was after, and why did he say that? No, nobody does. Everybody's attention span is kind of short. So it is what it is. I forgot to answer that
I
one.
like that, Donna, because we're now learning something about the internet and how people can skew their view of you. We all know it. As you know, politicians will say it happened to them, famous people will say it happened to them, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, but this is just an ordinary guy doing his thing on the internet. Can this be done to anybody that gets to a certain status on the internet, just trying to promote his own business or promote their own channel, and people come out against you because of whatever bias they have towards you?
Exactly. All right, so I'm gonna show the first clips. I'm gonna show 3 clips, like I said, and then we're gonna get into the main one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just hold. And don't need a man, thank you for being here. And Lisa, my dear, blessings to you and hugs and kisses. All
Is
right.
that Jack up there giving us major thirst?
Yeah, we have Mr. Andrew Tate here tonight. All right, let me share the screen, ladies and gentlemen. So just give me a second.
Intelligent enough to understand that if you want to learn something, you have to shut your mouth. It's very easy to talk and constantly, get attention and talk. You don't learn anything that way. You learn a lot more by being quiet, listening to what other people say, listening to who they look at while they talk. If they interrupt a certain person all the time, look at if one person walks, who follows them. This is how you learn. You can't make moves on a chessboard if you can't see the pieces. So it's day one. I decided to stay quiet. I decided to learn a lot about my housemates. And not necessarily suss them out, but just learn about the situation we're in. And while doing that, try my very, very best to complete the task, which is get out of the other's house. I don't care if nobody down there likes me. I'm sure by now, everyone's already pre-decided they don't like me, and that's fine. I know where I genuinely am. So I know I'm the most intelligent person in this house. I know I'm the most capable person in this house. Fact. From what I saw of the other housemates, there's some interesting characters in there I'd like to meet. I want to get in there. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to do it.
That was very interesting. And he has a point. You need to shut up and just observe and watch what's happening. You want Big Brothers? I don't know too much about Big Brothers. I think it's
Me
about
either.
the sole survivor or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I guess they don't have no TV, no internet, no music or nothing like
Wow.
that. And they about to go nuts, and who can last through it? And I guess people
I
push
think it.
buttons.
Yeah, I think it's ironic that he was right. Somebody else had made another video about him. I wish I had known you were going to play that video, because I would have tried to find that video again, of people making fun of him because when he was in there, he was just looking at everybody. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't say very much. He wouldn't. But he's right. He's in a situation with a room full of people where he's trying to figure out what's going on, who's who, and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't need See, that's the deal. I kind of get where he's coming from now. Like, when he's normally talking to teach, right? He's doing his usual spiel about men, about women, about business, about your body, about all of this. So it's always a teachable moment when he's commanding the room. But it's funny when he wanted to learn about what he was dealing with, which he had never been in a situation like this before, he kept his mouth shut and watched. So look at the dynamics of a different type of personality, and somebody still teaching you at the end of the day to keep your mouth shut and watch.
Yeah, it's kind of like jail. I mean, if he's paranoid like I am, I'm not going to sit up there and chat with everybody. My back is going to be against the wall 24/7, 365. Even though if I'm sleeping in the bed, my back's still against the wall, because I don't know which one of y'all can do something at 2 o'clock in the morning. Y'all might try to stab me or kill me.
Right, keep your head on a swivel. You have that's the way you're going to learn what's going on, and you're not going to people are going to be less inclined to come after the person that's standing around, not saying anything, but watching everybody.
All right, we're gonna get into this next clip, and which is true. You need to watch people. Some people are so busy, blah 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 blah, and they're not watching your surroundings, and that's when you end up being attacked. Okay, now this one here, Andrew Tate explains why women lose respect for you. Very interesting. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen.
Truth about male-female relationships. Women fuck men they respect. Mm-hmm. That's it. They don't fuck men they like. They don't fuck men they love. They fuck men they respect. If she loves you and likes you and doesn't respect you, she will not have sex with you. I have women who respect me and fucking hate me, but they're here every time I call. So if they respect you, they're going to sleep with you. Yeah. And this is something that's biological and evolutionary. They fuck men they respect. So how do you make women respect you? Well, first you have to be worthy of respect as an individual. There's no hack. If you're worthy of respect, you're worthy of respect. But secondly, you cannot allow blatant disrespect. So if you allow her to blatantly disrespect you and you tolerate that, then you're setting a precedent, which means, well, why would I respect this guy in the first place? Yep. I say this to guys all the time. I've had loads of guys who come to me for like coaching and stuff, and they say, you know, my woman doesn't respect me, da 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 da. And I say, look, it's much harder to fix something that's broken than just never let it go wrong in the first place. Right. From the second you got together, you should have been a man, and you haven't got to be an asshole. You haven't got to be aggressive. I'll sit with a girl and very politely say, look, if we're going to be in a relationship, if I'm going to take you seriously, you're not going to have male friends. If you want to hang around with a whole bunch of men, then I'm not going to take you seriously. What do you mean you won't take me seriously? I mean, we can fuck, but I'm never going to look at you as serious material. The idea, the decision is on you. If you want to be serious, you're not going to talk to those guys. You want to talk to those guys? I'll fuck you sometimes. You decide. And I lay it on them. And now if they choose to keep all their male friends, then that means she's chosen these friendships over me, which means sooner or later she was going to cheat anyway. Like, how long until she jumps on a new dick anyway? So why would I even be upset about it? But most men are too scared to just put the ultimatum down. And you haven't got to put the ultimatum down in some scary, big, brash way. Just be clear. Look, any woman I'm with who I take seriously doesn't hang around with other men. So it's your choice. And this is the point. But most men don't say anything. They let it slide and they let it get completely broken. And they come to me and say, well, how do I fix it? It's like, well, you have to make it not let it get broken in the first place. You need to understand your boundaries and expectations as a man, and you have to set them, and you have to make sure she complies and sticks to them. And if she doesn't, you're going to have to find somebody else. Yep. And this is another thing I talk about being a playboy. I have lots of guys come to me and say, oh, Tate, but I don't want to be a playboy like you. I say, look, if you want to be happily married, the best thing you can be first is a playboy. Yeah. The best thing you can do, because you're going to learn a whole bunch about women. You're going to have a whole bunch of choices to choose for a wife. If you're stuck with one option, the one chick you met, she might be a dickhead. Some women are just dickheads. You know, some women have been fucked too hard, too many times by too many big, scary guys, and they just don't want to listen to them. So, like, being a playboy is important. But yeah, absolutely. For setting your boundaries and stuff and making sure you're not respected, the key is this as a man, and this is the bottom line. Most men are not prepared to walk away. Yep. And if you're not prepared to walk away, you don't have any weapons. Exactly. If she knows no matter what, you won't leave, then what weapons do you have? Anything you say, shouting, screaming, yelling, going out away for a few days, whatever. She knows you're going to come back. You have no weapons. The second, imagine a girl came to you and she said, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you cheat, no matter what, I will never leave. Right. Think of all the shit you do. I know I do. Yeah. So this is the point. So as a man, if you're never prepared to walk away, you're never going to be respected. Respect and the woman thinking, you know what, he might just leave, are linked. They have to be there. So you have to mean what you say. You have to let her know, look, there's some things I won't tolerate. And if you fuck with me, I'm going to walk away. And if you walk away and she doesn't chase you, then she's gone. But at least you saved yourself a fucking nasty divorce and getting cheated on and all that shit. Just end it then and there and save yourself a bunch of time. But men are too afraid to pull the plug on it because they get addicted to the pussy and they don't believe they can get any more pussy and they get all messed up. And this is one of the advantages of being a playboy. I can leave any chick because I got 10 more. So if she doesn't act right, I'll just replace her for the night and I'll feel better by the next day. I go through a breakup a week. I'm used to it. I don't give a shit. And it's just like, this is part of the game. So you have to be prepared to walk away as a man. So you have to look at any relationship you're in and say, okay, I'm a nice guy. I love her. She loves me, but I have boundaries. And if she fucks with them, I'm going to have to walk away. And that's the truth. Otherwise, you're never going to be respected.
Yeah. I call it,
oh, did we lose Abby?
Okay. Well, I know she probably had a problem before she had jumped over.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
that
mean,
was very, very good. Jack, you want to share your thoughts on it before I
yeah,
do?
I mean, he's right. If a man is not willing to walk away and mean it, then he can't be respected. That's why some of these women respect pimps, because a pimp's gonna tell you what we're gonna do, and if he executes it, the women stay. If he doesn't execute what he says he gonna do, then guess what the pros are gonna do? They're gonna find another pimp.
Yeah. 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 I like to make a point about something we discussed yesterday that he brings up again about men friends and all of that. And he also brings up a good point. And when you hear him talking, you're not hearing him talk about how to run game on women, how to be manipulative or run
Yes.
smoke and mirrors game, be one way and then do another. And it's funny how he said, if she doesn't set boundaries about what I can do, then I'll just cheat. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you see what I'm saying? He doesn't normally do that. And that was funny. If you roll that back, here we go again. Did we catch him again? He's actually once again saying, I don't cheat. But he's making the point that you have to be willing to walk away and let go. And he's right. Maybe I had never considered why some men stayed was because they were or they start cheating while you're still in a relationship because they're afraid to leave you when having nothing else. But he is right about respect. You have to have a certain amount of respect and trust for the guy that you're with in order to sleep with him. And then when the respect is going, depending on what's happening in the relationship, it absolutely just changes the dynamics of sex. So he has figured that out.
And I will say,
Mimi?
I totally agree because respect is very important, and like he said, boundaries. And I always say that relationship you have to have boundaries, and then you let the person know. And when a person start to push your boundaries, that's a form of manipulation, and that's a toxic person. It's not going to go the right way. And the person love and respect you, they will never push never push your boundaries, and that's what he's talking about. He's in a relationship with a girl. This is his boundaries. This is what it is. He lets it out. And if she's pushing, she's acting funny. Hey, well, I just gotta let her go. What he's saying is, a lot of men, they get so caught up in the cookies, they so hypnotized by the cookies, and or they just don't want to be alone, or because she looks so good and everything, and they not realizing this woman right now, she's taking advantage of you. She's not respecting you, and respect is a key thing in any form of relationship. Boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, parent and child, employer employee, your church members, whoever you deal with, friendship. Respect is the key. Now we're going to move on to another video. Now,
I just want to make one more point, and I actually think he was right on. Don't be afraid to, like if it's broken and you can't start all over now, all of a sudden I need you to respect me and blah blah. Look, it's just too far gone to be able to learn to let go and start all over. He's making a point of where we're kind of conditioned to believe we work it out no matter what. But I do think that is a very important aspect of a relationship, and I'm starting to believe maybe at that point in time when it comes about respect, you kind of have to let go and start all over with someone else and know where you failed or what was needed when you go to the next thing to not repeat it. And maybe something that we should learn early on before we say our I do's. You
oh, that's
know?
very important. That's why you have to date long enough and get to know a person before you marry them. So many people just get so, but I'm going to say that for another topic. I'm going to do a whole thing about how long you should wait before you get married. I'm gonna get into that one. Okay, let me just read this what Art says. Yes, because only those women who don't have options and they easy to be manipulative, but those manipulate those men. Okay. Frugal hugging
I
kisses.
think I think though he keeps making I'm sorry, baby.
Oh, let me read this last thing. Art says, and once those women find out over the course of the years, especially if they are in their 20s and 30s, layers, and they learn that they self because more wise than ever, and that's why these women, I guess he wasn't able to finish it because he wrote a lot. Okay, but thank you for sharing that, Art. I appreciate that, sharing that one. All right, you want to say something real quick before I show this next video?
Yeah, yeah. Back to what he was saying. I do believe that he knows that women have more options than men. He knows it's easier for a woman to get laid if that's all she's looking for.
I
But
think
she
it's
doesn't have the same appetite as a man. Men, it's harder for them to just get. Women are more emotional and they're going into the next relationship. So it's going to include now the respect factor. And I think that this is a great learning teachable moment for women as well, because it's true. Make us look at ourselves, but not to say you're bad, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It's true. We'll only sleep with men we respect. And once we lose respect, usually the sex is not as good as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Respect is just so important in any form of relationship, like I said. Okay, let me move on to this third one before we get into the main one. All right, I'm going to go into this video. Now, this video, he's going to talk about short men. And I guess, some short men might write to him and to his brother, and they complain, hey, I'm short. I don't have the break. I can't do this. I'm short. Nobody want to look at me. So let's hear what Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate have to say about short men. His advice. Let's get it.
Very interesting. Another super chat. You made a point previously saying that you can't be 5'8" and an alpha. I never said that, and I don't think anyone here has said that, because I'm going to give a quick shout out to a boy of mine in a second. I'm 5'9". What do you think shorter guys should attain to be? Obviously not betas. Now, we were speaking 10 minutes ago about a very good friend of ours. Shout out to my boy, Prince, my homeboy, who is a G. And he's what, 5'7"?
Turbo G.
Turbo G. We were literally discussing this an hour ago in our own private conversations. So, Justin, I know you're the second tallest here. You're the same height as Andrew.
Yep. So I actually have a really strong opinion about this, because I think a lot of guys give up at like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", all this bullshit. Bro, listen, if I was 5'8", living in Indiana today, I would go to the gym, get a good job, handle my fashion, handle fitness, handle all these different things. And look, you will be, I like to say, happier than a dog with 2 dicks with your 3'7" girlfriend. You don't need a 10. Plus, I'll tell you another thing about a 10. There's shit to be around.
Hard work.
You could have 3 10s and 3 7s in Indiana and probably be just as happy, or if not more happy, than if you had 3 10s.
And 3 7s is 21 anyway, so that's better than most dudes with a 10.
Yeah, with your King Ranch Ford. Quit fucking crying. Do it, bro. Because most any men would take 3 girls that were amazing to them, want to be around them all the time. And like, dude, being short is not a reason to quit at all. And Prince is a great example of that.
He is,
because he's not tall, but he has literally maxed out everything from fitness, fashion, style. He does stuff for me.
Yeah, he's a
in business.
Yeah.
Bro, he's a war room guy. He's truly legit. He's a shining example of the short guy that's a pussy. He is screaming fuck you by his actions.
Yep.
But
he is not crying about it.
Yeah, correctly. But another way to view the world, it's just a wrong way to view the world. Every man understands you shouldn't be complaining about things you cannot change. You have to play the cards you're dealt. Yeah. I can't be a cowboy, right? Justin's a cowboy, right? I can't be an Australian. Sterling's an Australian. I can't be a dickhead. Tristan's a dickhead. you have to accept your role and you have to play it, right? Yep. To be born a certain height and then to sit there and go, what do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You become the best version of yourself, just like everyone else does. We're all born, okay, let's say we were all blessed with height at this table. We still had to become the best version of ourselves. If I was only 6'3" and didn't achieve any of the other things I've achieved, none of you would be watching this podcast right now.
True.
Nothing about the height is in and of itself enough value for me to be a valuable man. As a man, you build your value. You are born with the cards you're dealt. Sure, it'd be ideal. Look, I'd love to be 7 foot tall. I'm not. So it's the same argument. You can only become the best version of yourself, and to sit there and to constantly complain about it is a feminine frame. If you're 5'2", you need to become rich, strong, well-connected, and funny and charismatic and interesting and witty. If you're 6'4", you need to become rich, strong, well-connected. It's the same game. So to sit there and complain about it is asinine.
In fact,
asinine is the word of the day.
Asinine is the word of the day. Now, Sterling, this is the first time ever in Romania a fan has come up to you and recognized you. And what did you say? A guy after he left, a guy came up and spoke to you today, and this is on the height issue and maximizing your stats. Well, as soon as he left, you said
about the fact he's handsome and tall and all these things.
He was a good looking dude,
handsome,
tall, full head of hair, but he was, if I'm being honest, scrawny, bad fashion, bad haircut. He had, you said it, God's given him all these tools, advantages, and he hasn't taken advantage of them.
He's folding on a handful of aces. He's got 4 aces, he's folding them.
Yeah. But all of you, listen, ladies and gentlemen, and this is extremely important, all of you have a handful of aces. I don't think you understand that bacteria could have stolen your eyesight at the age of fucking 3. You could have been in a car crash at 4 years old and lost your legs. You have any understanding of how lucky you have been. This is pure luck. There's only luck has kept you fully able-bodied, sitting there, capable of learning and listening and becoming something. And they're going to sit there and pretend you don't have a pocket full of aces. You have a pocket full of aces along with everybody else. Every single person here is about to tell you a story of hardship. I would actually guarantee that most of the people watching this podcast had a better start than most of us.
100%.
And here we are. So you have this whole frame I don't like. It's a question I get a lot. What do I do if I'm not rich? What do I do if I'm not tall? What do I do if I'm not handsome? I'm uninterested. We're not females. If you come to me and say, I'm an ugly chick, what do I do? That's a genuine question because then you're fucked, right? But if you're an ugly man, that's not real because you can become scary. You don't need to be good looking. You can be scary as hell. You can just be a monster. That's fine. You don't have to be handsome if you're scary, right? You don't really need to be that tall if you're important and rich. And when you walk in the room, you think when fucking Mayweather walks in the room, people give a shit? It's Mayweather.
Yeah, he's 5'3" or something. He's tiny.
He's tiny.
Yeah, people shut the fuck up.
That's right. So this whole narrative, this whole frame, the fact you even ask that question shows that you're fundamentally broken. So fix that. Fix that frame in your mind. You are viewing yourself as a short man. Stop it. Because then she's going to view you as a short man. Walk the fuck up and be the man. That's the answer to the question. There's no other answer to give you.
Okay.
All right. What do you think of that?
Good cop, bad cop.
That
Tristan
was
plays the
that's
good cop, Andrew plays the bad cop, and they switch roles depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm. It was very well. I think they both was being good cops on this one. They
No, I think the subject matter was different.
When I say the bad cop, I don't mean like in a bad way. I mean like the bad cop is going to be more aggressive versus the good cop.
I'm gonna I also am gonna go back to hearken to what I keep noticing. Remember, the brother started out the conversation talking about a guy that all these women he should have, and if you have tens and blah blah blah. And they're starting out this conversation talking about women, blah blah blah, this and that. And Andrew is not even paying attention, or he's Googling on the computer. He's not in the conversation about women. And as soon as he comes out, he's aggressively telling a man to get his shit together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what you were seeing in that dynamics that look like good cop, bad cop, because it's the things you're hearing. You're loving to hear this guy tell you about this guy that got 3 10s and he can just get 2 7s and they're nothing but headaches, and talk to you about women. But as soon as Andrew turned up and said, look, that's when it sounds like bad cop, because now I'm not sitting around here talking about women. I'm sitting around here telling you to get your shit together. That's when it sounds like bad cop, because it's not feeding what you really want to hear. And it's not about when you're hearing him talk about this guy with all these girls, it's not about you. It's like, okay, well, if I'm only 5'3", I can do it. And then all of a sudden you realize when Andrew tells you, no, this is going to take a lot of work and you're going to have to work on yourself. That's when you're starting to hear, oh my God, he's talking about me. That's when it sounds like the bad cop.
Yeah, because it brings both male and female audience. The males like to listen to what the women need to do. And then Andrew comes in and says, okay, what you men need to do. And so that brings the female audience back in. They're like, oh, yeah, I'm glad this guy's saying that these men need to get their shit together. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot I'm on the wrong broadcast. God dog.
I love you, Jack.
Oh, I caught myself yesterday, Jack. Donna, we totally apologize.
Scratch that.
It's okay.
Out there on YouTube and Clubhouse, scratch that, please. But, Tristan brings in well, look at these women, this, that. But he's doing his role, being the good cop. And then Andrew,
before you go,
and then when everybody, all the guys say, yeah, that's right. And then Andrew said, get your blank together. And then the women come, yeah, that's right. So it's a push and pull.
I do see a different style from the other men's talking points that I have been listening to, that I may laugh and I may say, wow, but I'm seeing something else, and it's making me as a woman look around and see what I have. And I'm thinking to myself, a lot of this, and I maybe have not even paid attention to it. It may be why, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with choices I've made in the past, or or decide that I need in my life, even in my independent world of a woman. And so it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of liking to listen to a man's perspective when he's talking to try to help other men. He's literally trying to help other men, not sitting around trying to teach them game. He's not trying to help men by sitting around making them feel better by putting down women. It's less about that, and that's the talking points I'm hearing in other spaces on YouTube. Whereas opposed to him, I'm not here. I haven't been hearing this, and definitely haven't been hearing this from the Black manosphere. So our brother Tate has come from another place. He definitely is coming from another realm. He doesn't have those same talking towards, and he doesn't seem to have the same attitude about women.
I agree. You have a point there. And you see, I'm just showing here like people that's coming in. This is a picture of his family, his mommy, his daddy. Well, his father passed away, I think, in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm wrong, put in the comments. I stand to be corrected. But his father did pass away, and that's his mother and his brother Tristan and their sister Jeannie, I think, something like that. All right, but that was an interesting thing we're talking about with Showman. And I noticed about what basically his thing is, what I noticed, he's just telling men to get themselves together. Do what you have to do. I don't really see he's out here insulting women. He have said in other videos, I mean, I can go on all night showing videos of things that he said about with women. And his thing with women is, women is important. Women could have children, and he's very strong about you supposed to protect and provide for your woman. That's one thing, and I wanted to show one clip. I'm not going to show it today. Maybe I'll show it another day, but there was this clip, and it was a situation that he was on, I guess, on Twitch and talking to those gamers. And I think he has a problem with the gamers. Like, he doesn't mind people being gamers, but he's noticing that they spending so much time on gaming to the point that they losing touch of reality and not going for their goals and doing something in life. A lot of these gamers are turning into incels. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Going out to be social, get a life. But let me go back to it. So whatever this Twitch person he was dealing with, and one guy was saying, they were saying, example, if somebody's breaking in the house, what you gonna do? And Andrew Tate was basically saying, and I'm going downstairs to find out what's happening. My girl stay upstairs. And then the Twitch guy was talking, oh, no, I'm not. Maybe she should go downstairs. She might be able to handle it. And he's like, are you kidding me, dude? What are you talking about? You are a man. You're supposed to protect your woman, and you're supposed to go downstairs. You don't send a woman downstairs. It was just a whole big thing. And I was listening to it.
That was funny.
Remember, I sent you the clip, right? But
that was funny.
That was hilarious.
But see, they're still living in gaming worlds where the girls are the superheroes. They can make her into a superhero. I'm like, what in the world?
And Andrew was arguing with this guy, and he was like, dude, do you know what you're saying? You are a man. You're supposed to go there. You don't send no woman out here for battle. Or you?
He's like, what if she was what did he say? What if she was like a superhero type or blah, 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 this, and that? I'm like, he's like, what are you like building her inside? It's true though, but look what you're listening to. And you want to hear something interesting? I have a problem with everyone calling him a misogynist. I think that's why I keep always keying in and listening to what he's talking about when it comes to women, how he feels about women. I'm not seeing misogynist. I'm seeing basic dude. And I don't think we've come across just a basic man telling me I want just basic rules for the woman I want in my life. And that seems to be, we're quickly in this world trying to put a label on everybody. And if he talks, it seems they're not, I don't hear him being called a drill sergeant. I don't hear him. No one's like, wow, he's like a drill sergeant, or he's so angry with the men, or he's always sitting in men's face telling them what they. No, they turned it into something about women, and in actuality, this is why I keep telling you, Donna, I'm not seeing that guy, and I think it's kind of ironic. They quickly want to put this misogynistic label on him, and I think that they're trying to stop women from liking him. This is what it is.
Yes. Number one, he's a good-looking guy. Number two, he's intelligent. Number three, he has money. And number four, he didn't have all of this stuff.
No, and when women look at him and they look at how he's handling the men that he's talking to, we're looking at him as a better solution to learn what men really want and need than manosphere gentlemen that want to sit around and just tell us there's something wrong with us all the time. we're taking everything he says about the men and we're internalizing it as well. Yes, we need to get our butts up and get into some type of physical health. Yes, we need to start determining ourselves and what we're going to do financially in our lives. And if it means marrying money, then you better get the other things together, because you're competing with, and you need to be a certain type of woman to hold on to a wealthy man. He's already letting you know the formula, and it's not game. It's a formula. It's a totally different thing when it's deceptive. It's temporary. I'm in it to hit it and quit it, or just to get you to manipulate your mind and all of this. I don't get that. And this is why I have a real problem with the word misogynist going around the internet about him, because I keep looking at how he's interacting and talking about women, and I'm not seeing it.
I don't see it either, because I watched so many of his videos. Long term, I actually, like I said, I binged out like crazy. Every time I turn around, I'm contacting Jack.
I did too. I did too. I was very curious. I was like, well, where's this massage? Every time I would listen, I was like, well, okay, he's talking about the guys and what you need to do, but where's this massage? Oh, he sounds like he's a man wanting a basic woman. Or maybe I'm just older, and I think the younger generation is in a different direction than I was, but I see a lot of myself in those girls. I like a guy that's very confident in himself, blah, 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 does his thing, has his own, an intelligent way about him, and always makes me feel physically safe. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. But I think he gives good, good points for the he, and his thing is he wants to stress hitting to the younger men. And I think he talks about positive things, because I was like, when I was hearing, oh, this man got banned, and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck is he saying?
But look at his target audience.
And I was like, and some of these videos I see with a lot of these tubers and on social media, I'm like, nothing happens to them. But this man?
Exactly.
That's why I was like, when I told you when I had postponed it, when I was going to do it that last week, I postponed it. I was like, I got to get more stuff and I have to do a part 2, because there's more to it. I don't think
maybe we're looking at people that they don't have a problem banning because they're not really worried about the destruction of the minds of certain people. But this is not his target audience. His target audience are these little geeky guys that sit behind the computer. They're probably the only sexual gratification they're getting is porn online. I don't think they're interacting with women.
Nope.
And I do believe he understands the fact that those men are probably more dangerous because they're not interacting with women than men that are.
Excuse me, Abby. He did do a video talking about no, it wasn't him. It was his brother Tristan.
Exactly.
And he did do a video talking about the most dangerous men.
Exactly.
Men like that. Those are the ones
that and see what he's sitting around telling those guys, get up, get out, be around women, get yourself together, be around, not go out there and be grab a woman and pull her by the hair and drag her back to the cave. He's not coming at them. He talks about being charming. He talks about how to approach a woman and how to talk to women. I watched another video about how to talk to women. He gives dating advice on how to approach women. I'm going to send you that one next, Donna. But I'm keep looking for this misogyny everyone keeps talking about, and I'm not seeing it. And I'm like, what I'm actually seeing is something a lot of women would be lucky to have. They could fine tune him. He talks a good game, but when he falls in love, he's willing to compromise some of that craziness. But just enter his realm, and get to know and see at that point in time, give him a chance, be everything for a moment that he wants you to be, and then see how much he's willing to kind of compromise when he can take a deep breath and let go. Because at that point, you're going to need to take a deep breath and let go just to get in his realm.
You have a point. I'm going to show this other video here. And this one here I'm going to show is kind of long. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of a long live stream. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, because you know why it's a long one? I'm not going to do like these other people that do these take little short, little exciting clips. They're 40-second clips, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're such a bad person. See, that's the problem. People's attention spans is not that long. And I have to admit, sometimes mine get that way. But when I start hearing things that's like a little off the wall, I'm like, well, let me do my research and find out exactly what's going on. Why is this happening or whatever. And a lot of people don't want to do it. So they just go and buy these little clips. All right. Now, this clip that I'm going to show is not a clip. Well, him. Andrew Tate this was after he got banned from social media. So he did a video, telling his side of the story and how he feels about him being banned. So we're going to get into this clip. I'm going to show you this clip. So it's a long one. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax. You could just listen to it or whatever and stuff like that. Just listen to it so you hear what he has to say. But I will say, he did do something, was a 5-hour interview, and I can't remember the name of the guy's channel, but I'll put the link in there in case if you're interested in watching. But it's a 5-hour. I did watch the 5-hour because I thought it was very interesting, and he was being interviewed. He answered a lot of questions, and I learned a lot about him. So people that's walking around here that's, have problems with him, I think they need to sit back and watch that 5-hour. Watch this clip and also watch that 5-hour, and you can get a lot of answers answered.
I also,
With him talking about him being a misogynist, he got into that. He got into his family life, and etc. etc. But this one, he does give you a bit of information. So ladies, sit back and relax. Realist, hugs and kisses and blessings to you. And give me some purple hearts, realist. All right, so let's get into this clip because Abby, this is a long one. So let's get into
I know. I want to just say something about that 5-hour one. I did it as a listen because after you've seen what the three guys sitting around look like, there's no reason to sit there and stare at the screen. So I kind of like did dishes, did stuff in the house. But what's interesting about that? He's talking with men, about his. Now, I don't know who he's talking to in this one. I'm wondering about that. No glasses, none of that kind of vibe going on. I'm also noticing, is he home? I thought this looked, I think I've seen this on someone else's channel. Maybe Gigi had one up, but I thought the one he had in that one, he was outdoors and there was a rock garden and a fountain behind him, and it was some kind of Zen. Maybe it was this and I'm not even looking at it correctly.
This one here is like his official video from.
Okay.
This one's official.
Now, who exactly is he talking to? Because I have to wonder about.
No, he's talking to his audience. He's explaining everything.
Oh, so he's just talking on camera.
Right, he's talking on camera. This is after he got banned because he couldn't go on social media, so he put a video out.
Mm-hmm.
The whole full video. This is not no edit, cut, twist, blah, blah, blah. This is him, his video he put out to let his viewers know, blah, 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 blah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it.
Okay.
So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Let's get it.
I was thinking for a long time how to start this video because it needs to be concise and compendious, but I also want it to be very, very comprehensive. And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story, which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago. But I'm going to give a very, very quick overview of my story. My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life. I preach to the people who follow me that as a man, trauma and difficulty is extremely important because it's the building blocks for mental fortitude and physical fortitude. So I'm very, very happy that my life has been difficult because it's impossible to become a capable man or a man of my capability without struggling with facing serious adversities, without trying to overcome often insurmountable odds. I grew up in South Side of Chicago. I'm obviously a person of color. I was bullied in school to a degree, and my father always taught me to stick up for myself. I was never allowed to run and cry to authority. I was told that if someone wants to mess with you or come at you, you can't always go tell the teacher. Sometimes you have to deal with it. I was actually picked on by these two kids when I was riding the school bus home. I think I was around 5 and they were around 7. They were a bit older than me, and they used to pick on me on the school bus. They'd sit behind me, throw things at me, hit me, etc. And I came home and I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, these 2 kids are picking on me every single time I get the school bus. I don't know what to do. And my dad said, I'm not going to call the teacher because the teacher ain't on the bus. And I'm not going to call the school bus driver because they're busy driving. Son, if you want to deal with this, you're going to have to deal with it yourself. And I said, but Dad, they're bigger than me. What do you want me to do? There's 2 of them and they're bigger than me. And at the time, I'd just come home from school and I was holding a lunchbox. My dad pointed and said, you have a lunchbox, son? Teach them. So weeks had passed. It was a few weeks. They kept picking on me, and I felt myself sitting there getting more insecure, and the rage was boiling inside of me. And one day, one of them slapped me in the side of the face from behind. I was sitting on the chair. He slapped me in the face from behind. And instantly, I don't know what it was, but this was the day I had enough. And I turned with my lunchbox and swung it over the back of the school bus chair and caught him and busted his eye clean open. The plastic Batman lunchbox hit him in the eye and blood started squirting everywhere. All the children started screaming. And as I did this, the bus had just come up to a stop. It was a few stops before my stop, but it had stopped. And as the bus stopped and the screaming happened, I just got up and I just ran off the bus and ran home. I've never run so fast or so far in my life. I was full of adrenaline. I just ran. When I got home, I had blood on my clothes and my dad looked at me. He said, "What happened?" And I said, "That kid," I won't say his name. I said his name at the time. I said, "That kid, he hit me in the face." And I had enough of getting hit in the face. And I was still holding the lunchbox, but it was all smashed up where I'd hit him with it. And my dad kind of smiled a little bit and said, "Don't worry, son. Get in the car." We got in the car and we went to Walmart. We walked up and down the aisle. And he looked and picked up another lunchbox, an exact replica of the same blue Batman lunchbox, gave it to me and said, "I'll buy you as many of these as you need." And that was the last we spoke of it. Funnily enough, I never saw that kid again. I don't know if he changed schools. I don't know what his parents did, but I never saw that child again. So even from a very, very young age, I was taught that going to authority and crying and hoping someone else is going to fix your problems is not the way a man should conduct himself. When I left Chicago, I moved to Luton, England, which was multiple times voted the worst town in England. It's a high crime rate. It's a very bad area. My mother and father broke up, so I was in a single mother household. And now I'm a person of color in a single mother household. I'm also the only American at the time in Luton. And I had, again, repeat problems in school. I was picked on for being the only American. I was picked on for not knowing things I should have known because I hadn't been through the English educational system. I'd been through the American educational system. And I had trouble in school again, but I stuck up for myself. Unfortunately, nothing got violent at any point. When people made fun of me, I stood up and said, "Listen, don't make fun of me. I'm from a different place and I talk differently." And I always understood that standing up for yourself, I never went to the teacher. I never cried to anybody else. I just stood up for myself. And over time, people learned respect for me and my boundaries. And they were very respectful of me. And I had a very positive experience from then on out in school by simply standing up for myself, because this is how I was taught to act. In high school, I ended up having a reputation of a guy that nobody really messed with. I certainly wasn't a bully, absolutely the opposite, but no one really picked on me. I actually had a friend in school who was gay. I had 5 main friends in school, and I was also friends with a gay guy. And he would make fun of me for being American, and I would make fun of him for being gay back then. But the world was a very, very different place. This is many, many years ago. And we had friendly banter back and forth, but we were very good friends. And I stuck up for him and prevented anyone else picking on him all of the time. And the banter between us, the locker room talk, which would be considered absolutely unacceptable today, at the time was very, very normal. And we had a great time. We were good friends. And I heard from him, actually, after this ban. And he said, "You should mention the fact that the things they say about you completely aren't true." And this leads me on to the reason I believe these narratives have managed to gain such a foothold in popular consciousness. Due to the fact I've managed to develop an iron mind, because I'm probably the only individual on earth who can be vilified to this level without taking personal insult and without being emotionally affected, what I've done is I've allowed certain narratives to gain traction, which I shouldn't have allowed to gain traction, because they didn't personally bother me, because I know they are false. I live with a very, very pure heart. I'm a religious man. I go to church, and anyone who follows me in detail knows I donate huge sums of money to the church. And as long as I knew the truth of my heart and God knew the truth of my heart, I wasn't interested in lies being purported. I now understand that that's wrong, because even though I've done nothing wrong, even though it doesn't emotionally affect me.
I just want to quickly pause. If you watch part 1, he says about what church. Yes, he goes to church every Sunday, he says. His thing is, well, what is it? I can't give an hour going to my Lord basically. And I like that about him. And then the woman that was, interviewing him, you watched the first one, to her it was like shock. Really? You go to church every Sunday? Yeah. It's just like a person who's saying, well, I kickbox, but I don't train. Interesting. Resume.
Me, even though God and myself know my innocence. The public consciousness has been polluted to a point where narratives are being purported which are absolutely and utterly false. And it's having a genuine negative impact on the people who I care about and the people who care about me. And despite the fact it doesn't emotionally affect me, as a man, I have a duty to protect all of those I love. And for this reason, these narratives have started to become very, very harmful. I was on the understanding that on the internet, people don't like you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be some people who don't like you, and the people who don't like you are not interested in the truth. What they are interested in is finding some lie that they can latch onto and accelerating that lie on as much as possible via their platforms to try and paint a negative picture of you because they don't like you. A lot of these attacks against me are disguised under the virtue of caring about women. But none of these people who are attacking me care about women. None of them donate to women's charities. None of them donate to charity like I do. None of them help anybody like I do. I'm about to show later on in this video proof of the massive work I do for helping people. They don't help anybody. All they do is just attack me and use fake virtue, the fact they pretend to care, as a reason to attack somebody who they personally don't like. And it's very, very different to actually care about an issue or weaponize an issue and pretend to care to try and damage someone else's life. These are very, very different things. And this is the reason why I have not tried to dispel these myths as hard as I could have, because I understood that these people are always going to hate me and they're always going to lie about me, no matter what I say or do. But considering in light of the final ban, and considering I have the public consciousness, I think it's extremely important that for myself and for my family and for people I care about, that I tell the truth and I make the truth known to the world, because that is the only intention in my video, is to sit and tell the truth. And the fact that I'm a very, very iron-minded individual who is not negatively affected by these smear campaigns is not reason enough for me not to sit, take time, and dispel all the negative things which are said about me. I am fully aware that not everybody is going to agree with what I say. I don't think there's a person on the planet you can find who has a 100% approval rate. There's always going to be somebody who disagrees with what you say. If I said the earth was round, there would be a contingent of individuals on the planet who disagree with me. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me. I have no problem with being seen as controversial for some of the things I've said. However, I do have two significant problems I would like to address. The first is I do not like absolute and utter lies being told about me. I do not like having long-form video of me cut up, elements taken out of context, the tonality of the joke removed, and purporting an image of me that is not true. That's something I do not like. I do not like false accusations of criminal activity. That's another thing that I really do not like. I am totally aware that not everybody is going to like me. I have no problems with that. I think anyone who decides to get big on the internet needs to be very, very prepared for a contingent of people to not be happy with what they say. I could make a YouTube channel dedicated to the fact that I believe the world is round, and there would be a large or semi-large proportion of people who would disagree with me. I don't think there's a single creator online that has a 100% approval rate. I have a lot of people who love what I say. I have a lot of fans. A lot of people are dedicated to my channel, and I have a lot of positivity online. And I have a small contingent of people who are very, very offended by what I say. We often talk about, in the modern world, the inclusivity of different cultures, different ways of life, different sexual orientations, and how we need to be tolerant and understanding of all these different people's life paths, and by extension, their different ways of viewing the world. I'm a unique individual, as is everybody else, and I have a unique life path that has led me to unique points of view. I think that all of the people who disagree with me are very, very welcome to disagree with me because they have had a unique life path and a different point of view, and I respect that absolutely. I would never shout for any of the people who disagree with anything I say to be silenced or canceled, because I don't think that helps the world. I think that discourse is always going to be the way that we lead ourselves to the truth. And if anybody has anything contrary to say about any of my points of view, I welcome it. I like to hear it. And as long as it's in a respectful and adult manner, I often platform it on my platforms as much as possible so I can sit and discuss and I can learn things. Because if I have a point of view and someone challenges it in a very adult, correct, logical way, very often I have changed my point of view. And this has been really, really good for me as a person to grow and for the audience to grow. And I know I've changed many other people's minds when they've come to debate with me. And this is the beauty of being human. So I have no problem with being disliked. I do have a problem with a few things. I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context, taking a small clip from a 2-hour piece of video, then with careful editing, removing of tonality, and changing my intention behind the words, painting me to be a criminal or a bad person when I am not. I do have a problem with false criminal accusations when I do not have a criminal record, and I have never had a criminal record in any country on the planet. I do have a problem with this. And also I have a problem with the fact that social media has changed so much in modern times. A lot of the things I said that are being used against me were said 5 or 6 years ago in long format video. And as of late, with TikTok, with YouTube Shorts, with Instagram Reels, it's very, very easy to take 2 hours of video, snip out 10 seconds, edit it up quickly on a phone app, and then blow it up to millions and millions of views with all context removed, all tonality removed, and makes it look like I'm saying things I did not say or I mean things I did not mean. And this is something that I can't control. I became the most Googled man on the planet, and to a degree, I'm a victim of my own success, because now people are trying to find any little clip of anything I've ever said, remove all the tonality, and just blow it up to try and get views to be as controversial as possible. I understand why they're doing that. They're doing that because they want the views for themselves, but they're not taking into consideration how that affects me and my personal image as a whole. And I think the things I've just highlighted has now culminated in the media believing something about me which is so pertinently false, based on videos that I have never even made, purported and accelerated and advertised by people who I don't even know, with such a small piece of video from me, with all context removed, that I've now become the #1 villain of Earth. And I truly believe that's unjust. And I want to discuss that here and prove to the world in my final message that I am not any of the things I've been accused of, regardless of whether I am banned, reinstated, remain on social media, is completely beside the point. This is just a matter of clearing the air while I have the national consciousness. I was massively a victim of my own success. I decided to accelerate my public persona and presence about 6 months ago. And I was massively successful. I became the most Googled man on the planet. I am, by the metrics of the internet, the most famous individual who is currently alive in the world today. That comes with a bunch of advantages and disadvantages. We can go into those at depth. The disadvantages are safety aspects, safety concerns, which we're going to talk about a bit later. I've had serious threats on my life. I receive over 5,000 death threats per day. So do people who I love and people I care about. They also receive death threats. The social media companies have yet to take any action against this. They were uninterested in trying to police this in any form. The advantages are, of course, is that I have a massive effect on people. And I have had thousands of emails from men saying, "You've saved me from depression. You saved me from suicide. You helped me so much." The #1 video on my YouTube channel, my pinned video, has been for over a year. Mind hacks, how to beat depression, how to feel better as a man.
Sitting there believing that depression is some monster from the sky that strikes your brain and now you have no control over it and you must take pills every day is the absolute enemy to a G mindset. I don't give a fuck how depressing my situation. The only person who can change it is me. The only person who can change how I feel about my situation or try and affect the situation directly is me. Even if you put me in a situation I can't change, if you put me in jail and I'm depressed because I'm in jail, I still refuse to succumb to depression. I refuse to collapse mentally and give up. I know the only person who can control my mind is me. Nobody's coming to save me.
As a man who's been through such a difficult life, I think I have a very intimate understanding of difficulty and how to grow as a man and how to become the kind of man that can handle a difficult life, because this has been my life path. This is what God chose for me. And this is what I've been teaching. And I have affected positively millions of people. And I'm immensely proud of that. I truly am. However, people couldn't stop talking about me. And when people were talking about me, they weren't doing it out of love for me. They weren't doing it because they cared about me. The main reason people were talking about me so extensively is because they cared about their own channels, their own views. They wanted their own clicks. And they understood that if they can make a YouTube video purporting a lie about me or saying bad things about me, it's more likely to get clicked. It's more likely to get watched. It's more likely to get shared. Expose, Andrew Tate is this. Expose, Andrew Tate is that. And what's happened is people, through their own selfish desires of trying to piggyback off the back of my massive fame and becoming the most famous man on the planet, have decided that making a bunch of negative videos is a fantastic way for them to personally gain clout and personally gain views and clicks, which is what the internet is about. And we ended up in a situation where videos of me from long ago are being taken out of context purposefully to try and purport a narrative which is not true, because people understand that's a very easy way for them to gain some clout and leech off of my success. That's all fine. Like I said, I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, being disliked, etc. However, when it has an effect to...
I'm briefly pausing here. And, to people that's content creators, you have to realize this can happen to you. This is, oh, shoot. Phone ringing. This is, it's serious. And this can happen to you. This is what people do, for clout, clicks and views and everything. I resume.
This magnitude, where I am genuinely seen as a negative, bad influence on the world, when all of the emails I receive from people who watch me are positive, saying that I'm helping people, how I've helped their mind, I've cured their depression. It's really strange to experience such a disconnect, to have 98% of the people who email you say how fantastic you are and how much you helped them, and then 2% of unknowns threatening your life. And then everyone I meet on the street saying such amazing things. Since I've become the most famous man on the planet, I have never once had a negative experience in real life. Everybody who meets me is very respectful, a fan. We take pictures, we shake hands. Nobody has screamed at me in public. Nobody's come up to me and called me names in public. Nobody said I'm wrong. I've been to over 20 countries. I've never had a single negative in-person experience ever. So the people love me. At the same time, the media is saying I'm hated. It's a very strange disconnect that I've been experiencing. And a lot of that has been purported and accelerated by the fact that people are trying to gain views on their own channels, separate to me, nothing to do with me, by accelerating lies. It's also an interesting case study into internet mass hysteria, right? If 50 videos come out saying Tate's a bad guy, it takes a lot of bravery for someone to come out and say Tate's not a bad guy, despite the evidence. I can show evidence to the contrary of these negative narratives for the end of time. But if somebody can see, if a YouTube creator or a content creator can see, if you make a negative video about Tate, you get a bunch of clicks and everyone else did it, well, then I may as well do it. They don't sit there and go, what about Andrew? What about the truth of this? What about the effect on his life? What about the effect on his experience of the world? That doesn't come into consideration. What comes into consideration is everyone else did this and got a bunch of views. I want a bunch of views. And even though what they're saying is false, even though some of them know it's false, some of them may not, but the ones who are well-researched know it's a lie. It's very, very tempting for them to sit there and do it anyway, because there's no repercussion. There's no downside to them. All that's going to happen is they're going to get a bunch of clicks, a bunch of views, a bunch of comments, a lot of people defending me because they know it's not true, a lot of people agreeing with them who are less researched. They're going to completely benefit. And the only person who's going to suffer is me. And because I have an iron mind and I wasn't emotionally affected by this, and I understood the nature of the internet, I didn't try to combat it too hard. I didn't know exactly what I should do because I had already told the truth on repeat many, many, many times, but nobody would acknowledge it. They would just ignore it because it got more clicks to purport the lies. So I thought, that's the nature of the internet. I've never been this famous before. I guess that's just how it goes. Unfortunately, now public consciousness via the media has genuinely bought into a construct where people believe I'm somehow dangerous when all I have done is save people from depression. We talk about men's mental health. Patty Pimblett just fought and talk about if you have trouble with men's mental health, come forward.
As I said, women talk to each other. There's no stigma on women. They sit around and have a cup of tea and have a jangle.
True that.
Men don't, lad. Men feel like, oh, I can't go and say that to him because he'll think I'm a little mushroom. You know what I mean? That's what men think. But as I said in the cage, I'd much rather my friend come to me and speak to me and cry on my shoulder than me have to cry when I'm carrying his coffin a week later.
I just wanted to show the world that if mental health could bring somebody as big as me and as strong as me and, you know, the stereotype heavyweight champion of the world to my knees, then it could bring anybody to the knees.
Tyson Fury talk about it. I talk about it. Everyone tries to talk about it. And everyone says, men, you should talk more. Talk to us. I try and encourage men to be strong. I say, listen, if you're depressed, you need to get in the gym. A strong body is a strong mind. I sit there, and by using my lifestyle, which is an aspirational lifestyle that most men would love to have, purely because of the finance, the cars, the freedom, etc., I encourage people to work hard and try their best to become the best version of themselves. And men are encouraged to talk and open up. But when I talk and open up and get massive influence and start helping people, they're going to silence me. I've been nothing but a net positive for the world. That's truly how I view myself. And that's absolutely and utterly the truth. However, I am very understanding of a changing social media landscape. And I'm also very, very understanding of my fame changing. And by extension, I have some responsibility to bear. I am a man who believes that he is responsible for everything. I think as a man, you should take complete responsibility for your entire reality. It doesn't matter if I'm struck by lightning. That is my fault. That's who I am as an individual, and it's been one of my keys to success, to never blame luck, never blame anybody else, to only blame myself. So despite everything I've just said, I still blame myself. And because my rise has been so meteoric, because I've become so famous so quickly, and because I've been producing content for so long, even though I take absolute responsibility, I'm in a difficult scenario where videos that were made 5 or 6 years ago in long form are now being cut into 5 seconds, accelerated and purported now in line with my new line fame. I can't stop that happening. But I also understand I have a degree of responsibility, right? Because I'm the most influential person on the planet. So my responsibility is to make sure that any kind of negative connotations in my messaging are removed. I want to stick to my message. I don't want to backtrack. I still want to champion men's issues. I still want to champion physical and mental strength. I still want to champion the protection of women. I still want to do that. However, I must be ultra aware of how I do that, because it would be unprofessional of me as a man to sit and say that my messaging does not have to change in line with my fame. The way you can say things in a video that gets 500 views is very different than the way you can say things in a video that gets 500 million views or 50 million views. You have to change your messaging. The more people you reach, the more important it is that people do not take your things out of context, right? If 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a 500-person video, that will not have a large effect on the world. But if 0.1% of people misunderstand you on a video that has 50 million views, now you start to affect the world in a negative way. So I have to be very, very, very careful in line with my newfound fame. And it's difficult because in the world I'm in, if I sit down and do a 3-hour podcast, it's my job to be entertaining. And I want to give exciting answers and interesting insights. I think the reason people follow me is because I have a very firm understanding of the English language, a very good grasp of the way to construct sentences, how to be motivating, how to be compelling. And I do that on purpose. But it's also very difficult for me, regardless of my intellect, to now sit at a podcast, be interesting, be exciting, give a compendious and concise answer, at the same time, be wary that in my 1-minute answer, at any point, 6 seconds worth of it can be taken snipped, used against me, and weaponized. I don't know if my mind can handle all those tasks at once. It's not very often I'm stumped, but that is becoming extremely difficult. And I'm sitting here thinking I've been offered massive podcast requests by the biggest podcasts in the world. And I'm thinking, how can I answer questions? How can I be a responsible adult? Because that's what I am. How can I be a professional? Take responsibility for my level of fame to make sure that nothing can be taken out of context, but still tell my truth and still answer the questions, but construct my sentences in a way where they can't be misrepresented at all. And it's hard because I think any content creator who was suffering from what I've suffered from, if any content creator got as large as I was, and there was as many people cutting up their videos as they were mine, and those people had a negative agenda, we could make Mickey Mouse look evil. You could make anyone look bad. I'm not saying I haven't given them ammo. Of course, there's been the odd clip that made it easy for them. I'm saying if their intentions were to be as provocative and negative as possible, it can be done to anybody. And that's why now I need to take a break from all the podcasts I've been invited on, especially since I've been banned. I've been invited on the largest platforms in the world. I've had 100,000 emails of support. All the media channels want to talk to me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I need to make sure I'm not misunderstood. And I have to really be careful about how I do that while not backing down on my messaging, while still championing the things I champion, still believing in myself, but making sure I'm not misunderstood. And although I think on the internet I am one of the most respected oratists that exist, I now need to once again improve myself and improve my skills and prevent anybody being able to take me out of context. I might have to form a new way for sentences to be constructed. But if that's what it takes, that's what I intend to do. Because with great influence comes absolutely and utterly great responsibility. And I do understand that. And I will blame myself for the fact that people have managed to do this to me, regardless of the fact that I did not want it to happen. So let me give a quick example of this. Before I continue, I want to say that I often speak to the absolute beauty of women. I have a very healthy relationship with my mother. I have women around me who truly and utterly love me. I have very healthy relationships with females. I have no criminal charges for crimes against females. Nobody has come forward and accused me of sexual misconduct. Please understand, we'll go into the Romanian house raid shortly. But most people in my position of fame have had women come forward and say he raped me. I'm the most famous man on the planet. There's not a single female whose face you can name or whose face you can picture that's come forward and said I've raped her. Not a single female has come forward saying I've hurt her. Not one. There's a video from 10 years ago that showed me in a sexual act with one of my ex-girlfriends.
Listen, stupid bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen?
Hello everyone, I just wanted to say something about the video that's been released recently about me and my ex-boyfriend Andrew Tate. Andrew is my still great friend. What you guys saw on the video, it's just what we used to do. It was just pure game. He's a great guy. He would never hurt anyone unless he's fighting.
The left understand that kink shaming is a negative thing, from my understanding. She has come forward and said that it was all just a game.
See, and this is what I was talking about. How everybody look at the short form, the little clips, and they get all gun-ho. But nobody wanted to push the clip that the lady was saying. They boyfriend and girlfriend, this is what they was into. They was doing. He didn't do anything wrong. It was two consensual adults. Insane. Resuming.
And still that video is being used and sent around the internet saying I'm a woman beater. If I said it was a game and she said it was a game, who are other people to then comment on our lives, our private lives, which got leaked, and tell us it's not a game? It was between two consenting adults, and we decided to do something ourselves, and we both agreed it was fine. And she has not come forward trying to accuse me of anything. So who are others to do that? That's just kink shaming, which that's all it is. So no women are accusing me of anything. No women are accusing me of misconduct. I champion women all the time. I say about how they should be protected, how beautiful they are, how much I love my grandmother because of the amount of children she had.
My grandmother had 9 children. There was my father and 8 more. They all had a bunch of kids, blah, blah, blah. I stood there and I looked at my 93-year-old grandmother, and there was a room a whole room full with maybe 70 people that came from that one woman. Isn't that remarkable?
Yeah.
That nobody cared about her career. Nobody asked what job she did. Nobody asked how many times she went to the club. Nobody asked if she had time to go to festivals. No, you had 70 sentient beings, including myself, full of life from one woman who dedicated herself to being a mother and a good wife. That is beautiful.
I talk about how women are unique and special and they can do things that men can't do. And still these clips are taken out of context. Let me give you an example.
I absolutely and utterly love women. I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for. I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I would never let a woman, if someone touched any of my women, I would stand up against 10 men by myself and risk my life to protect her. I believe that women are beautiful creatures. I just don't think that they're as emotionally calm as men in stressful situations. I don't think they can fight like a man can. And for the same reason, I would never drop my children in an all-male nursery. I think that's strange and weird. I would only drop them in an all-female nursery. Women do certain things and men do certain things.
Now, I believe everything I said. I believe in protecting women. I believe in championing women. I believe in making sure that women are provided for. However, that video was made when I was far less famous. In light of the things I just said to you earlier in this video, I understand that now, as my fame grows, even though to me my message is very clear, a man has certain roles in society, a woman has certain roles in society, and when we work as a team, when we love each other, society is better as a whole. I think that these views are not very controversial at all. I think they were mainstream only a few years ago. I don't think that they're controversial. Most of the people I meet in the world don't think they're controversial. The women I hang around with don't think they're controversial. Nobody on the street I've ever met thinks they're controversial. Everybody agrees with me. However, the way I'm saying it, the way I'm getting the message across, because I'm trying to be as energetic as possible, I understand that a small, tiny percentage of people might misunderstand me. And that didn't matter when I didn't have any views. I didn't have any followers. But now I'm the most famous man in the world. I have to be a lot more careful with how I say it. But what's really worrying is this. That clip, I would like to think, even my biggest haters can agree, is a clip that is positive about women as a whole. Perhaps you may not like my tonality or the way I structured certain sentences, but as a whole, I'm saying positive things about women. At one point during that speech, I said women do certain things and men do certain things. That clip has been taken, that cut of my language, men do certain things, women do certain things. Somebody, I have no idea who, has made a TikTok where it says men do certain things, and it shows videos of me driving around in cars, spending money, and women do certain things, and it shows women cleaning.
Women do certain things and men do certain things.
Somebody off their own back, somebody else has made that video. I didn't tell them to. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their account is. It's just viral on the internet somewhere. And now I look like I'm saying women should only clean and men should only run around with cars and women and money. I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all. I said that women should be protected and provided for. But because a small clip was taken out of context and used against me and weaponized, now I look like I've said things I did not say. And no matter how positive my message about women, if the intention is to try and make me look bad, even with a clip like that, they found a way to make me look bad. That's the scary thing. That's why I've titled this video My Final Message, because I don't know, even with my entire brain, I don't know with all of my genius intellect, if I can find a way for nothing to be used against me. It's extremely difficult. One line out of context has made me look bad, and millions of people saw that, and people didn't see the long format video, and they've deduced that I hate women and that women should only clean, when really I was trying to stick up for and protect women and give my true views on women. And this comes full circle to the Instagram ban. I am very understanding of why Instagram felt like it was necessary to ban me. I am not mad at Instagram. I'm a professional, and as a professional, I'm not an emotional person. I do not do emotional responses. Although I believe it's unfair, although I believe I've been unfairly vilified, although I believe it's not the right thing to do because it doesn't allow me to shift the public consciousness in a constructive manner, although I think it would have been better for them to say, Andrew, certain things are being taken out of context. You need to be careful that doesn't happen. A lot of people listen to you, and I could have become a champion for women's rights. I am not emotional. I understand why they did it, because that's a perfect example of how people are desperate to try and make the things I say look worse than they are.
and using social media platforms to purport negative views of women. And it doesn't matter if it's a negative view of a woman, negative view of men, negative view of a sexuality. It doesn't matter what it is. It should be stopped. I agree with that. And Instagram or Meta have a responsibility to show that they are listening to the public. They want to show that they are listening. I have some good people on the case, and dialogue with Instagram I would like to open, and we'll proceed as God sees fit. If God believes that I do not need an Instagram page, then I will not have one. If God believes that I do, then I shall. This is not just about Instagram. This is just me saying to Instagram that I totally understand. I just wanted to make it clear that I didn't want these things to be said. That clip of the cleaning and me being taken out of context has no benefit for me. Everyone dislikes me on the internet. Certain people watch it and know it's not true. The ones who've watched the longer format stuff of my videos and they're fans of mine, fine. So certain people remain neutral because they know it's false. But people who don't then dislike me. My family gets death threats. I get death threats. Hate is spread online. Like, there's no benefit for me. If I could stop that happening, I absolutely would, which is why I want to adjust my messaging and adjust the way I talk. I don't want that to happen. That doesn't help me. I would love for that to never happen. And Instagram think the way for that to stop happening is to ban me. I agree it should stop happening, but I don't think banning me is the answer. Because there will always be someone else. And there will be a new hate mob and new out of context videos. And this is a problem which is larger than Andrew Tate. This is an internet problem. This is a problem with short format video, short attention spans, nobody looking into anything in detail, things taken out of context. This is a really big problem that the world has to address that goes beyond me. And if I've had to martyr my presence on social media to raise a conversation, which is going to be a net benefit for the world as a whole, then I'm happy with that. I'm happy if people go, you know what, this happened to Andrew Tate, it's now happening to other people. We have to change the way we review censorship, banning, content creation, content proportion, all these things. That's fine, if that's the life path which has been chosen for me. I just want to make it clear that I don't like when that happens. I don't want that to happen myself because I don't gain anything from that. On Instagram, absolutely no rules were broken. My captions were just poetry that I wrote. My pictures were just lifestyle. Car, house, boat. I never broke any rules on Instagram. I never had any strikes. I never done anything wrong on Instagram. The only rule infringements on Instagram were my comment section, where hate mobs inspired by these videos that we've been discussing, these videos which were deliberately taken out of context and deliberately fictional, hate mobs were inspired at the end of YouTube videos to go to my Instagram and insult me. So the only infringements you would find on Instagram is in my comment section, where thousands of people who were sent by random YouTubers who don't like me would come, threaten to kill me, mock my dead father, threaten to kill my brother, threaten to kill my family, threaten to find me. These were the only rule infringements on Instagram. Things written against me by other YouTubers, telling them to go and do it, while all I wrote is poetry. And on repeat, multiple times I said on my stories, if you're going to defend me, do it respectfully. Even if people hate me, even if they're insulting me, don't insult them back. Hate doesn't beat hate. It just creates a brick wall. If somebody says they hate me, explain to them calmly that they don't understand the context. Show them a longer format video. Show them how I stick up for marginalized people. Explain I'm a person of color and I've been marginalized in my childhood. Show them how I had a gay friend when I was a kid. Show them how I stick up for women. Don't just reply saying you're stupid, you don't know the truth. Don't fight hate with hate. I was encouraging all of my followers and all of my fans to be respectful people, even when sticking up for me. Once again, trying to turn negativity into positivity via social media. My Instagram had no infringements. That was the only anti-policy things on the page, things targeted against me. And I didn't really complain to Instagram because I wasn't taught as a person to go complaining to authority. I thought, this is the internet. That's how it works. Just ignore it. Don't worry about it. Soon the truth of your heart and your character will come through. Soon people will see the light and they'll change, because that's the way the world is. People often flip-flop on issues. This is how things happen. The redemption arc is going to be beautiful. I really, truly believe that within a few years, people are going to understand that I'm a force for good in the world. And often, people say, well, don't have Tate as a male role model. There's better ones. Where are they? There are no other male role models. Because to inspire the youth of men, you need to be aspirational. They have to look at you and want to be like you. And there's no other male role models that have had the tenacity or the aggressiveness to have such a fantastic life as I have, that they're going to listen to me. They listen to me because of my authority, and my authority comes from my life experiences. If my mentality is so wrong, how have I managed to amass enormous wealth? How have I managed to amass huge social status? How have I managed to physically dominate the planet? I've done things that men respect and they look up to me. So that's why I can lead them. And I understand my messaging should change in light of the fact that I can be taken out of context. But me being alive on the internet will allow me to lead men in a very positive direction. Banning me and deleting me leaves a black hole where they say there'll be another masculine leader. But the men don't listen. The youth of today won't listen to anybody else. That's the reason I'm the most famous man on the planet, because none of these other people have the authority to affect them like I do. It's me or nobody. And I truly believe that me, with reformed messaging, now understanding of my newfound fame, is so much better for the world than nobody. Because nobody just leads to black holes of who knows what, and it can't be controlled. And that's where the internet is truly dangerous. Speaking of Instagram, I was understanding in recent weeks of how these negative fictional stories of me were gaining traction, and I wanted to try very, very hard to counter them. I put a post on Instagram, which you can see here, where I explained that the things I've said have been taken out of context. And just because I champion men's rights does not mean I dislike women. I think that men are underrepresented in the world today. And as people often say, men need to speak up. I'm here speaking for the men. I'm here trying to speak up. People are speaking up because of me. We're raising important issues in the world today because of me. Deleting me and blocking me is only going to hurt men as a whole and increase all the problems we see with the youth of the men today. So I put a post up and I said, listen, people misunderstand me. I'm going to donate money to a female charity that supports women against domestic violence. And I'm also going to donate money to a charity that supports men's mental health. Just because I support men doesn't mean I hate women. I love people. I'm a person full of love, and I want people as a whole to elevate, not just men or women. I promised $1 to each charity for every like. That's $2 per like total, $1 to each charity. At the time of my banning, I had 550,000 likes or something like that, I believe. And if I hear from Instagram, what I would like them to do is to clarify the final likes amount on that post so that I can stick to my word, because that's what I am. I'm a man of my word. I was not doing it purely just to post the receipt on social media. I was doing it because I genuinely believe it's a good thing to do. And I would like Instagram to confirm the final amount of likes on that picture so I can donate the $1.2, $1.3 million that I promised I would donate to both of those charities independently. I would even be happy for Instagram to select the two charities and confirm and verify my donation. I'd be very happy to do that because I said I was going to do that. And I'm a man of my word. I stick to my word. What's interesting to me is when I put that post up, if anybody else had promised to do that, there'd be massive positive attention. But everybody ignored it. Nobody in the media wanted to post about it. None of the YouTubers wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it because it doesn't get clicks. You only get clicks for hating me. You don't get clicks for telling the truth about me. So nobody's interested in telling the truth. Everybody ignored my charitable donations. If anybody else donated $1.3 million to charity, I'd like to think there'd be some sort of headline. But if I want to do it, nobody cares. And that's very, very unfair. What's also unfair is the people who say that they care about women and they're worried about misogyny and using this to attack me and try and have me deleted from the internet, they don't donate any money to charity. They don't help women. They don't want to do anything but spread hate. Right now, they hate Andrew Tate. When I'm gone, they'll hate someone else. They'll find someone else's comment section to go into, insult, threaten their lives, insult their dead parents, hate, 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 hate. They're not going to donate money to charity. They're not going to help women. They're just going to sit there and hate me until I'm gone and then hate somebody else. This is a hate mob. And they're pretending that they care about women. They don't care about anybody. They're just hateful. And by Instagram allowing the hate mob to be successful, it inspires further hate mobs. It inspires further hate, further division. I understand that Instagram and Meta and Facebook need to, as a whole, keep their fingers on the pulse of the national opinions. I understand that. But once we have confirmed that the national opinion is misunderstood, then we have to sit there and go, do we want to bow to hate mobs, which are accelerating and encouraging people to become more hateful for views and to get people banned via hate. When these people may be actually doing good things to the real issue as a whole, is this a good idea for us to now bow and bend to these people? And this is a really interesting conversation, which can be had for many, many hours about the internet, about society, about sociology, about psychology, about so many things. This expands in so many different directions. It's actually very, very interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have because we're living in an unprecedented time of humanity where the world is so connected and we're all kind of unprepared for it, right? It's very, very interesting. I find it super interesting. It's something I've been talking about internally, and I would love to talk about more in person. And when I decide to finally come back to public consciousness and do podcasts and that kind of thing, it's something we will be talking about because it's a very, very interesting subject. I'm teaching that it takes tenacity and toughness to become a credible man of merit and value. I think even my hardcore detractors would agree with me. If you're in trouble and you call the police, you want a tenacious, tough man to appear, to help you, to protect you. There's nothing wrong with being a tenacious, ambitious, tough man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with strength.
I know I
Mental and
do.
physical. These things are used to protect people, protect men and women. This is a protective state. You can't protect anything if you're not strong. Strength is a beautiful thing. The world is built on the backs of strong men. And I'm trying to teach men to be strong again because it makes the men feel happier inside. It solves men's mental health. And it also makes the world a genuinely better place. People are taking my lessons and me trying to teach strength and misconstruing them, saying that I'm trying to teach men to be oppressive or aggressive. That's absolutely not the case.
Exactly. It's not about aggressive. It's not about aggression. It is about personal strength.
Exactly.
And the reasoning why you need it. Yes.
But instead, they want to push putting men in dresses. Yeah, I said.
Exactly. It's funny how you don't get canceled when they really have a problem with people that speak out against things like that and want to cancel them.
Yeah, they want to cancel them. Would you
Yes,
say that?
they want to emasculate the strong man.
Yes.
Weak men can take over the world, which so far they're doing a darn good job at.
No, but are they really taking over, Jack? Because he makes a point about the war room. Think war. If your enemy is watching the men that are supposed to fight you lose their masculinity and become just fat potato chip eating nerds that are not out there getting ready for hand-to-hand combat. And they're helping the situation.
No, I understand what you're saying, but it's just kind of like the slave. They made the male slave physically strong but mentally weak.
Right.
So yeah, they can be weak and effeminate mentally. I mean, they don't have to have physical characteristics. So they of course they're going to use the dumb, strong guys to continue the process, but the real mentally strong ones are going to be the weaklings who are
exactly.
Great point.
Exactly. And also they were talking about the fact that Chinese in China and in those Asian countries, they really frown upon homosexuality. I think the Philippines has the thing about it as far as like the lady boys and things like that. I think that they have sort of they've known about that for a long time. But as a whole, yeah, they're really trying to stop this feminine energy and all this on their.
And I really feel sorry for these young men. I really do feel sorry for them because of the stuff that they seen on social media. I mean, I can go in on this, but I don't want them coming at me, and want to ban my channel, whatever and stuff. But hey, I'm gonna speak up because due to the fact I don't like what they're doing to these boys.
Yeah, the truth can never be considered disrespect. Number one.
Yeah, that's true.
I was right about China with the boys. They have boys program where they teach them, martial arts and that sort of thing, leadership and that sort. They got those schools in China. So you're right about that. They do have schools for boys if they feel like they show a sign of femininity. They put them in there and toughen them up.
And also they have this thing even as little kids when they do exercises, a thing where it's a sort of sense of teamwork. It's not an individual thing. You're doing it for the greater team. And somebody that I know that went to work that's an American that went to work, and I think in Japan, they like everything is team oriented and team driven to the point where when you take a vacation, you affect your entire team because they have to do double the work to make up for you not being there. That's the reason why it's sort of frowned upon certain things, why they work so hard, because you're working as a team. So you don't want to let down your entire team. And they seem to have that teamwork attitude about everything, not an individual, where I think here in America, we tend to be more individualistic, thinking of only ourselves, thinking of only our families, or just us. We're going to live in our bubble. We're not going to think as a team. The only time people want to think in the scale of an entire community is when there's something bad happening to someone in the community. Then they want to band together. But as soon as that's over, we're back to our individualistic ways. And I think it's kind of interesting that he makes a point. I do think I kind of get the feeling why there is so much behind him to ban him. I've been taking notes, so I'm going to wait until after the end, Donna, and I'll go through my list with you. But I do believe I know exactly what led to this, and I really don't think it has anything to do with misogyny.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I resume. But last thing I'm going to say is I really do feel sorry for a lot of these young men, especially if these young men is, raised in a single household with just a mommy and not too many men around. Not good. Resume.
Case. And at the same time, they're ignoring my charitable donations to the world. And at the same time, other media creators are rewarded for purporting lies and spinning lies about me. And then at the same time, the media buys into this. And at the same time, we're in the current situation where this entire storm has appeared, where I've genuinely only been a net positive on the world for anyone who's watched my content in all of its long form. When Instagram tells me and confirms to me the number of likes on that post, I'm going to make the donation. As well as that, the future for me, now that I will be a lot more careful and a lot more selective with the social media I'll be producing, if any at all, is I'm going to be starting a foundation, the Tate Foundation, which is going to be dedicated towards charitable acts of both genders. I have been very, very private about certain elements of my personal life, as has my brother. However, my brother has a daughter, and she's beautiful. She's my niece. I don't want her to grow up in a world where women are hated. I don't want her to grow up in a world where men are oppressive and hurting women. Why would I possibly want that? I want her to find a strong man who can protect her, who can provide for her, who can make sure she's safe, but I don't want anything bad to ever happen to her. My own personal circumstances regarding family are something that are once again confidential, but I can confirm to you that the last thing I would ever want is for women to be marginalized in the future, for genuine misogyny or sexism to take hold on the planet. I would completely and utterly be very unhappy with that for my own personal reasons. The Tate Foundation is going to be dedicated towards helping men's mental health and also protecting women from violence against men. You're going to see in the upcoming months and years that I'm not somebody who's doing this just for likes or doing this just for views, that I'm somebody who is doing this because he genuinely has the capability to help people. And I believed I was helping people via social media. And if that's going to be taken away from me, then I will continue my philanthropy in other realms. Please, if you want to have more information, you can go to cobratate.com, sign up to the emailing list. And my emailing list is going to start detailing all of my charitable acts from here on out. I'll be spending millions and millions of dollars on charitable acts for the rest of my human life. God has blessed me with fantastic wealth. It's more money than I will ever personally need. I already was doing my philanthropy through encouraging men. And if that's going to be destroyed, then I've decided to start the Tate Foundation and specifically help with financial aid, women, protection from violence primarily. I'm in Romania, which is very close to Ukraine, and there's a lot of problems there with violence against women and women trying to escape the country, and men's mental health issues. And this will all be detailed on my newsletter at cobratate.com, and I encourage people to follow. My other charitable acts are things that I haven't really advertised or talked about. I always felt a bit embarrassed to tell people about the charity I do, because when I do charity, I think it should be from the heart, not for likes. But I understand now that all of the media is saying I'm a bad guy, and I'm not even telling the world all the good I do, because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think you should just give from the goodness of your heart, not for attention. But that's unfair for people to be saying I'm a bad person when I run a shelter for dogs in Romania because of the stray dog problem, because of the fact that I just recently rebuilt an entire orphanage because there's an orphanage problem in Romania. There'll be a plaque called the Tate Orphanage on this orphanage, and you can see here messages of thank.
Oh, but no one wants to report that, do they? Not at all. That's not gossip. It's not, they don't want to report that, the good things, but they report that other stuff. Resume.
Thank yous from the children and the woman who's running
Donna,
it. I
they
did
don't
this months
report the good
before
stuff.
anybody disliked me. I didn't even tell anybody. I just rebuilt an orphanage and didn't.
Good stuff doesn't give ratings. Bad news gives ratings.
Oh, that's right, Jack. That's not where the clicks and views come from, correct? No, it doesn't come from that.
That's sad. Look how we're so addicted to negativity. How does that happen?
That's just so sad. And like he said, he's doing these things from his heart. He doesn't want to publicize it for what? I'm just doing it. But now he has to discuss it because, everybody's saying he's this type of guy. Ridiculous. Resume.
Didn't use it for positive PR, didn't try and put it on the internet and get a good spin from it, didn't try to get likes. I was just trying to help people. The fact that the only charitable act I've ever advertised was their Instagram post. So I find it very hypocritical when these hate mobs come and say I'm a bad person, when I'm the one who's out here spending his money and time, trying to help the world. And all they're doing is telling their followers to insult me on my Instagram page. Which one of those two things has a genuinely positive effect on humanity? I'm genuinely not the bad person here. However, I will say again, I do take absolute responsibility because that's who I am as a man. I'm a personal responsibility type of person. And I understand that regardless of the fact I believe it's unfair, I do have a cross to bear because
I picked up the speed a little bit on it to 1.25.
I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete. I've started from nothing to the point where I had to run to the gym because I didn't even have a car to get there. I've done it all. So I've lived a very extreme life, and this is where these lessons come from.
To quickly address the rumors that I'm a sex trafficker and that's why I live in Romania. Firstly, that's a very, very racist attitude to have. I find it strange that the left and people who speak and talk about tolerance and inclusivity will assume that Romania as a country will allow me to be a rapist, or that Romania is the kind of place where rape is okay. That's an extremely racist mentality to have. Imagine someone saying that the other way around, that in this country, because it's run by these people, they're inherently bad. That's very unfair on Romania. Romania's been very good to me. It's a great country filled with fantastic people, amazing nature, great food. It's a great place. I live here because I love it. There's no other reason why I live here. They're a European Union nation. They have a strong legal system, just like every other country. And to sit here and say that, oh, Romania is where you can rape people, that's very racist. And I don't understand why nobody is pointing out the fact that anyone who's saying that and believes that is purporting racial stereotypes. That's the first thing. The second thing is my house was raided by police under accusations that a woman was being held kidnapped. I have spoke about this at length many, many times. I was effectively swatted. I think this happens to all famous people on the internet, where the police is called, happens especially in America. They call the police and say, somebody has got a gun at this address and he's threatening to kill somebody. And the SWAT turn up and it turns out it's fake. It happened to Tim Pool repeatedly. It happened to Aiden Ross just the other day. Being swatted is unfortunately one of the things that happens when you're famous on the internet.
Whatever troll did it, you did it. You officially did it.
Oh, we got swatted yesterday. It's so upsetting.
Just right after my mom arrived.
I was swatted. Someone made a call about me, which was fake. The police responded, as they should.
After seeing that clip of him being swatted, I do recall hearing about this on the news. I do recall this happened a few years ago. If anybody else do, put in the chat, let me know. Resume.
I would hate to live in a country where the police get a call that a woman's being held kidnapped and they don't bother going to look. That's not what a country should do. Absolutely. The Romanian authorities were exceptionally professional. I have nothing but positive things to say about them. They turned up professionally, turned up and investigated as they should. And they found out that it was completely false, that nobody was kidnapped. Nobody was held against their will. I was not charged. I was not released on bail. I have no criminal charges in Romania, England, America, any country on the planet. I have no accusations against me for hurting women. And people are still on the internet saying, he's a human trafficker. The Romanian police are trying to get him in trouble for human trafficking. That's not true. That's not what happened. And I've said this many times, but people continue to ignore it. and continue to purport the lie, because that's how the internet works, right? They continue to just keep pushing the lie because it gets more clicks, or because they personally don't like me and they want to use it as an excuse to pretend I'm a bad person. I can sit here and be vain and arrogant and say they're jealous of me and my success and they want to find a way to drag me down, but that's beside the point. The actual point is, it's not true. And I was swatted just like anyone else was. And if I had actually hurt anybody, the Romanian police would have me in jail, because they are a nation, a European Union nation, with a strong legal system, and they would lock me up. They have not done that because I am completely and utterly innocent. They investigated as they should and came to the correct conclusion that there's nobody here and this was a false call, a false alarm. It happens to lots of famous people. Happens all the time. The person who made the call about me threw in, instead of saying, I kind of think, if I analyze it, the people who make these police calls, right? The people who do the swatting, it's kind of country specific. In America, they make a call to the police and they say, he has a gun, he has hostages. They can't really say that in Romania because it's very, very unlikely. It's not likely to be taken seriously. So instead, they try and find something the police might believe. Oh, he's an American guy and he has this big house and he has a bunch of women trapped. It's a different story, but it's the same intention, for the police to turn up with guns. And thankfully, thank God, nobody was shot, nobody was hurt. They were very professional, very calm, as was I. Very calm conversations, very kind. Everything was sorted out very quickly. I was taken from my house. They came into my house at 5 p.m. They did a forensic search, as they should. At 8 p.m., the search concluded. They took me from my house at 8 p.m. for paperwork at the police station. And by 9:21, I was back home. And that was the end of it. Nothing's happened since. No woman's come forward. Nobody's hurt. Nothing. So that's completely false. But again, this is taken. It's put in all the news. It's put in all the media. Imagine I was a normal person with a normal job. This should be scary to anybody watching this, that this could happen to you. I'm lucky. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't need a job. I don't need people to like me. I don't need social media. I don't need any of this. I can have my beautiful family. I can have my children, and I can be left alone. But if you're a normal person, you lose your job. You lose your income. You can't walk the street. You can't afford security. You can't afford to move. If this happened to a normal person, their life would be over. It's scary. Okay, it's happened to me and I can deal with it, but it could happen to somebody else. And it's genuinely a scary thought. It's absolutely and utterly not true. I have no criminal charges. There's no charges at all against me. I have not hurt any women. No women are coming forward saying, Andrew hit me. Zero. The only video of me and a woman in consensual acts, she came forward and said it was a game. There's nothing on the internet from any woman saying that Andrew is a bad person and misogynist. He did this to me. Not one. It's just misunderstood clips on TikTok. It's crazy to me that I've become the face of evil with misunderstood, out of context clips on TikTok with no criminal charges. There are very famous people who have much more. They have genuine criminal charges. There's very famous people who have genuine accusations. They're still on Instagram. I have none of these things. None. I understand that social media companies feel responsible for the national consciousness and the national opinions and actions because of their large levels of influence. However, I don't think it's fair that I'm being vilified and blamed for something that isn't true or wasn't even me. I need to seriously analyze if it's possible for me to even have a social media presence for any longer without it being weaponized and used against me. I would like to think that Instagram have their finger on the pulse of the world and that they're reactive and adaptive regarding how people view certain issues and people. I'd like to think that they're very fair and unbiased and that they understand that in time, when the truth is shown about my positivity and my positive impact on the world, the Tate Foundation, all the amazing things we're going to be doing for men and women, over time, they'll understand that there's no reason for me to not be on the platform. I understand that if I'm going to continue on social media, I need to be a lot more careful with my content. Not because I'm saying bad things, but because I'm saying things that could be used against me. I want to dedicate this YouTube channel, any other remaining social medias I have, my email list, and my Instagram at some point in the future, to the Tate Foundation and speak purely about the positivity I'm doing for the world. Because in the meantime, and at least for the next few months or years, it's going to be very difficult to talk bad about me when people only see the money I'm donating and how I'm helping people. And I don't just give money in a very lazy, charitable way. I get up in my car, I go on the ground, I help people myself.
I drove my Rolls Royce to Ukraine. I bought hundreds of coats and shoes for women and children fleeing the conflict. I didn't film the refugees. I hate when people do that.
So we'll be documenting that. I think that's a good way for people to start to learn about the truth. I'm really relieved this happened. I feel good. I feel happy. I don't think I could have got everybody's attention without this. I don't think I would have had a chance to make a clean break and a clean start and explain the truth of my character and my heart without this. I think that if I was never banned, I would have kept trying to tell the truth and my haters would have kept ignoring it and kept making negative videos about me, and it would have spiraled out of control until someone in my family was hurt or an attempt was made on my life. Any of my serious fans who have watched all my content know that I've had attempts on my life before, way before YouTube, 10 or 15 years ago. It's something I intimately understand, life and death. and it's not something I wish to revisit. I feel the hate around me was being accelerated to a point of danger for myself and my loved ones. So I'm very glad this happened because I feel like I now have a chance to tell the truth. And I also feel like the social media companies are very understanding of their responsibilities and will always reflect the national consciousness. And as people understand the truth about me and my heart, their opinions about me will change also. You know, the Bible is full of redemption stories. So are superhero movies, right? The guy starts off bad and then turns good, or the guy that you think is a bad guy turns out to be a good guy with good intentions all along. He was just misunderstood. I feel like the human psyche is very intrinsically understanding of these narratives and stories. I think people understand a redemption arc. They can understand when they retrospectively look back on certain events or actions or words, and with their new understanding of his actual intentions, everything looks different. They look back and go, oh, now I know who he truly is. I understand what he meant by that. Now I know who he truly is. I understand why that was said. And everything changes. I truly believe that this is a chance for me to move my social media purely to my charitable acts. Even if my Instagram is reinstated, it's only going to be about the Tate Foundation. There'll be no pictures of Bugattis anymore. Sorry, gentlemen. And it allows me to conduct my philanthropy in the physical world as opposed to so much in the digital world trying to inspire men. It's an avenue change. It's a life path change that God has chosen for me. And I'm happy with that. I really am not the type of person to take these things personally. I don't take any of these decisions personally. I'm a very logical man. I'm very good at seeing both sides of the argument. I understand the situation I'm in intimately. I completely understand all points of view. And this redemption arc, this chance to tell the world the truth about me and focus on showing the good that I have already been doing before these bans, when I didn't want likes, when I didn't want clicks, and also undoing all the negative narratives which I've allowed to spiral out of control because I trusted in people to do their own research and come to their own truthful conclusions. I realize now that this is a fantastic chance for me. It's a massive opportunity. I'm still going to tell the truth about who I am, about what I believe, about how I believe a man should act. I'm still going to tell people and inspire people to stay away from low quality people.
If you're struggling to find quality men to be friends with, maybe you're not a quality man. Every relationship in the world, including friendships, are mutual. Because if you're a quality person, you meet quality people, male and female. That's how it goes.
I never would only talk negatively about women. I talked negatively about men all the time. I told people, don't have friends who just smoke drugs and play video games. You need friends who are going to inspire you to push yourself to be the best man you can. I'm a massive anti-drug advocate. The worst experiences in my life revolved around other people either taking or selling drugs and trying to hurt me because of it. I've never taken drugs in my life. I've never even tried cocaine, never tried a single smoke of weed in my life ever. I'm massively anti-drugs. But when I do videos saying to men, avoid men who take drugs, avoid men who are disloyal, nobody comments on it. But if I say avoid having a girlfriend who takes drugs, avoid having a girlfriend who's disloyal, people call me a misogynist. It's not about gender. I'm just trying to teach people to stay away from low quality, toxic people and just try and elevate themselves and create their reality to be around high quality people and positive people, male or female. There's no gender associated. It's only the fact that the media, these people chopping my videos up, whoever they are, taking it out of context and only focusing on the times women were mentioned, which is a very small percentage, 2 or 3% of my overall content, and ignoring all the time I said the exact same thing about men or the times I loved women and purporting this view. And I feel like this ban is the hard reset I needed to tell the truth. So for that, I'm thankful. I'm very, very thankful for that. What's next for Top G? Well, as I've said, I have built my dream life. I have everything I've ever wanted. I've done that with the tenets that I've been teaching the people who follow me. I've been teaching you the mental fortitude you need to truly have your dream life. I was talking to Aiden Ross on his stream, and he said, have you completed the game? And I guess in a way I have.
And do you feel like you've beaten the game?
No, I've hacked Matrix and completely beaten the games. I have everything I've ever wanted. I don't need anything else. All that's left for me to do is have a positive impact on the world. I don't think anybody truly wants to go down as a villain. Maybe some people do. I don't. I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to stick up for myself, to be strong, to be commanding, but I was raised to do the right thing. And that's why, as I stated, I have no criminal record. I stay away from drugs. There's a lot of people on social medias with large criminal records who advocate drug use. I think that's far more dangerous for society than me. And once again, they have absolute exposure to the world. I want to run the Tate Foundation. And I would love to do it without any social media. I will be detailing on my email list all of my charitable donations, all of the orphanages I'll be building, pictures, financial evidence, receipts. Please go to CobraTake.com and sign up to the newsletter. It's free, and I'll be letting people know the positive impact I'm going to be having on the world. The fame I've amassed has also managed to help me amass hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't need all of it. So I'm going to use it for positive causes. In regards to social media, I need to sit and think and work out a way that not a single snippet of my words can ever be used against me. And even though I consider myself a wordsmith, that is a very, very difficult objective to complete. And I'm going to think about how I could possibly do that. So while I'm thinking, any remaining social media channels will be dedicated towards charity. If I start a new Instagram, it's only going to be dedicated towards the charitable side of the Tate Foundation. I hold no ill will against any social media platforms. I hold no ill will against any of the people who hate me or who have tried to spread lies about me. I truly pray for you all. I think that to be a person filled with so much hate that you think making videos insulting a man and encouraging your viewers to go and insult him and his deceased father and his family members, I think that is a horrible way to live. I would never want to experience that level of hate in my heart. The people who are making endless videos celebrating my ban or talking hate about me, that hate is never going to satisfy you. You need to learn to let go and live with a heart filled with love. You need to be content with yourself, because if you're obsessed with trying to hate on another person, the poison's inside of you. It's not inside of me. It doesn't affect me as much as it affects you. You can't feel hatred for somebody without it affecting your mood. So this is something for you guys to address, and I genuinely pray for you. I have no ill will against any of my haters. I have no ill will against any social media companies. I have no ill will against anybody. To follow me and keep up with me, please sign up to the newsletter on CobraTake.com. Anybody who would like to send me a message of support, I've already had hundreds of thousands already. Thank you guys so much. It's very reassuring to me in times like this to hear from all of you, letting me know that I saved you from depression, that I helped you feel better about yourselves. I'm the reason your marriage is working. I inspired you to send your son to the gym. I love hearing these things. And you can send me an email at the email address below, tate@cobratake.com. Please send it to me. I really love hearing these things. And knowing I had such a positive impact on the world is what's allowed me to ignore so much of this hate storm that's been reported. My social media presence is something that, if it remains, will be curated in a way that it's nearly impossible to be seen as a negative for the world. I'm a force for positivity and I'm a force for truth. This is the truth of my nature and the truth of my name. Anybody who wants comment or to reach out to me, you can find ways to do that. Any media organizations who would like to speak to me, you can do that through, there's various PR companies who want to represent me. There'll be ways of contacting me. But I just want the world to know in my final statement that if you're a supporter of mine, and I know most of you are, please explain the truth in a respectful manner. Telling these hate-filled people that they're wrong and calling them names won't help. These people are not happy people, because happy people don't act that way. Tell them the truth. Show them that the content is out of context. Show them the long format content. Say all the ways I've helped you. And I really believe by being a genuinely professional, logical, positive person, you guys can change public consciousness for me. And time is a beautiful thing. It's amazing how things change with time. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my fantastic life, which I've managed to build with all of the tenacity and mental strength that I try and teach my fans. You know how to reach me. And I'll finish with a quote from my late father. My unmatched perspicacity, coupled with sheer indefatigability, makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor.
Are you trying to keep up being like as viral as you are forever? Or not forever, but like for...
This is stage one of a 3-step plan. So I'm going to be viral for a little bit longer, then step 2 begins. The conquest is continuing.
So this is just the beginning. Because like a lot of people are saying like you're going to fall off soon. This is just your 15 minutes.
No problem.
What's your take on that?
That's fine.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of it. I know it's a long one. All right, Abby, would you like to share your thoughts, your closing thoughts on this? Jack, your closing thoughts on this, and then I'll get into my.
What do you think the question? Let me give you some things I was thinking about this ban. Okay, I just want to go through some notes that I took. It's not long; it's short, but I'm kind of thinking of who would be the people that the hit dog that hollered. I really don't think it was women. If all he's talking about is the fact that in certain instances, he doesn't want women to drive cars and fly planes because they're emotional. I don't think that is what would be considered so. And who doesn't think that there's certain people you don't want steering the boat, or you don't want to, I do believe that that's, and to say something, and I brought this up to Deirdre, women tend to be screamed immediately with any emotional situation, be it be joy, pain, happiness, stress, or anything. Men tend to react physically, immediately get into the moment. So I think that there is some validity to certain aspects of what he might say, even though I think women are capable of doing pretty much anything when it comes to certain things. But if he feels that way, I think he's coming from a point where he's examining the emotional reality of women. I also think he's not as abrasive in his response, and he makes it very clear that his target audience isn't more so the women, it's the men. And I think that his target audience, and being the men that's not sitting around here looking for flaws and being mean-spirited and talking about the bad aspects of women, says a lot for him. You don't hear him kiss and tell. The only time he actually had to talk about a relationship with a woman is when this video surfaced. So I think it's kind of ironic that the thing that surfaces between him and his girlfriend, and he's still not willing to throw any old girlfriends under the bus that he might have broke up with, and she's definitely not, she's coming to his defense. So I think that that's interesting too. I also think that the hit dog that hollered in this one had to be the psychiatric industry. If he is trying to convince men to get off drugs, whether it be prescription drugs, weed, which is a big industry now, in order to address their depression and work on themselves before they go there, and being the man that wants to sit down and have that talk therapy with men, and not so much sit around and listen to them bitch and whine, but sit around and say, okay, now that this has gone on in your life, take this adversity and turn it into, whether it be getting your physical aspect together, whether it be getting mentally strong, whether it be getting out there in your business sense, and being about a purpose in this life. And I don't think that you get that when you go to therapy. You get somebody that sits down, listens to you bitch and whine, and they tell you everything's going to be okay, write you a prescription and tell you that's going to fix the problem. And he knows good and goddamn well this is a huge industry, and a lot of people do have serious mental illness who I do believe need medication and help, but maybe they just need a man that they can look up to give them a bit of inspiration with that pill, to take them to a place where it's not or their conversations with their therapist or their need for medication becomes a totally different realm at that point. So I do believe the psychiatric industry might have been the ones hit and hollered the loudest and tried to mask it as something to do with women, because they know when women start complaining about something nowadays, because it's the year of the woman and it's the year of everything to do with women, and when women start complaining about things, that's when they're like, okay, if he's upsetting women, we have to take him down. There are so many more men out there in the manosphere and in other spheres of men that I know that are being brutal to women, mean-spirited, literally changing the landscape of the way men think, and they're not doing anything about them. And I think it's kind of ironic that he's the one they're going after. And I see this as when he keeps saying they're going to see the light. No, they hate. Then when they see the light, they'll just copy what he does. They don't want to admit that he actually changed them as well. The other thing I was thinking about is what he has done to compare to other, in comparison to other men out here that claim they do the same thing. What is he doing with these little internet nerds that are like trying to come into their human self and be a confident man and harness some of this smarts and energy and this money making attitude they have with the internet and get out there and be real people? What are these other men that are out there to start comparing him to what you're hearing out there about men that are supposedly coaching other men, and see what you're hearing. He's not sitting around bashing women, and he's actually sitting around not pretty much bashing men, but he is letting them take a look at themselves. The same thing that they want to do to us women, he's doing it to them. And I think that's making a lot of these men out here that are begging for cash apps and have these little don't go there with these little twerky men out here begging for cash apps. Don't spend your money on OnlyFans. Come over here and cash at me so I can sit around and tell you how evil and mean and low these women are and how they're out of shape while you're sitting there with a beer belly and you ain't got it going on either. But you're begging men for money. Now, and join his Patreon. What's going on in your Patreon? Just sitting around talking more of the same that can't be said.
You gotta you got a beer belly with breast.
Exactly. And then what are you doing in your Patreon? So you want them to join a monthly service now that makes you sit around and just bash women some more. They're not telling, or how to run game on women or showing you the games women are running on you. If you worked on yourself, none of these games that these women are supposedly running that are so evil and maniacal can work on you. And I think that has a lot to do with it. Now, one of my last points is something about the positive attention. This is just another case of what's said across the world about anybody doing anything positive. We are so thirsty and addicted to negative energy of any kind. It gets our attention. Oh, something negative, something positive. Oh yeah, so what? He gives to dog charities. He gives to women. Now he wants to change. Now, something else I noticed between this last message and that 5-hour video he did with those two guys sitting there, and I can't remember their names, and I probably should.
You know what? I'm going to pull up the link in case anybody want to watch. It's 5 hours. I don't know if it's going to.
Yeah, but one thing I noticed about that is he had definitely decided at that point. He decided here in his last message to dedicate whatever social media they're willing to give back to him. Okay, because I think he started fearing that there was too much importance in social media, because the same importance that took him down was the same reason he knew he had to use to turn it around and say, if I don't get as many likes and views as everyone else, I'm going to be about my positivity. But what he said in that interview, that 5-hour interview with those guys, he said right away, they gave him Scud missiles. There's nothing else they can do to him. And he's still sitting there getting his word out through other men who support. His supporters are the ones that are really actually going to make him a bigger sensation and make him more understood than his haters can ever do to him. And I think that this was a 3-pronged system. I really didn't see a lot of women coming out of here with pitchforks against him. Me, as a woman, I didn't hear anything nearly as abrasive as I heard other places. And I think this has something more to do with big industry and taking away this idea, especially after 9/11, that we all need online psychiatric care and we all are so fucked up in the head and we need to be about depression. He's addressing depression probably and suicide, but he's addressing it as a man talking to another man. And I'm a man that made it. I'm a man that your psychiatrist went to school to analyze you and pretty much pretty much typecast you within the realm of psychiatry. Okay, so you have this disorder. You're no different than anyone else who has this disorder, and I'm going to give you this medicine. That's not the case, and this is coming from someone who hasn't worked they worked on their education to get to know people's mindsets. But are you really talking to somebody who's been able to change their own body, mind, and spirit and master a certain amount of wealth and have gone through so many things? So, I have to give it to him. He's a totally different type of therapy than we're used to in this world. And I think that the psychiatric industry coming after him might have been a big silent silencer. They're silent in saying anything, but they keep bringing it up in the clips, how he talks about male depression and his remedy for that. And then he wanted to bring up this misogyny. I'm not seeing the misogyny. If it's one whip it spank it thing with your girlfriend, I can imagine there are men out there beating their girlfriend worse and nobody's doing anything about them and canceling them. And how many of these celebrities out there that just got their fame by being, liked by other people so much are doing things and people turn a blind eye? Okay, Rizzo.
You broke it down. I don't know what to say right now. Okay. Oh, I love it though. I totally agree with you.
I took my notes, Donna. I did my notes, Donna. I just wanted to kind of because it's long and I don't want to interrupt or stop in the middle. I kind of wanted to absorb everything. And I think that has a lot to do with what's going on. These little clips make us think. But when you see it all in context of somebody sitting there trying to explain everything to you, and he's not sitting around saying, well, look at this guy, look what he's doing, how come you didn't ban him? And look at this guy, look what he's doing, how come you didn't? And look at this woman, and look what she's doing, look how women are talking about men, how come you're not? He's not talking about anybody but himself, and he's not sitting around saying, ban all these other people, I'm better than they are. No, all he's talking about is himself and how he can make himself better. And if he puts his positive foot forward, even if he doesn't get as much attention as he did when he was doing, I didn't see him being all that abrasive. And I think in comparison, when you start looking at how he talks about women and you put him side by side against some of these other people and you wonder why those other people are not banned, I'm starting to worry that they really want to keep this gender war that we're having in our community going. Whereas, what's he really doing? He's not really making a gender war. He's trying to make an army of men with a different mindset.
And I agree with you. And I like a lot of points that he says, and especially one thing he stresses, why is men arguing with women? Men supposed to argue with other men. You know, what's going on? It just doesn't make any sense. But, you know, I agree
He's
with you.
definitely not in the bitchy man club. He definitely isn't sitting around whining him, and he doesn't get argumentative with women. He's been on a lot of women panels, even with that girl Cheyenne. He wasn't really being argumentative with her. He was stating his point from a very teachable moment. And I think that if it wasn't all about you're just so beautiful, you're just so wonderful, and giving her everything she wanted to hear, if he was going to say, well, I don't think you should do this, he at least took the time to explain to you as a woman, as a teachable moment, why he feels the way he does. I didn't see that from any of her other dates. And when you see those guys, you're going to wonder, well, what was it? I'm telling you, I think this was a mob mentality. A lot of these nerds that he coaches cannot ever get to the point, or they just not willing to do everything he says to get to that point, and they would rather bring him down than him be right. And they have to admit they're not man enough to go there.
You have a point. Jack, do you have a closing thought? Or
I think Abby summed it up. So
she sure did, didn't she?
I'm just.
You agree with me, Jack?
I agree with quite a bit of stuff you put out there. I mean, you know, I can't argue with it if it's the truth. I'm not gonna argue with the truth.
Well, thank you, Jack.
But you know, he's right. You know, if you want the best, you gotta be the best. You can't sit there and be a bum or schlep. You know, that likes to just brag about who you are and look at such and such. You know, my thing is if I don't want those type of women, I just don't appeal myself to those type of women. You know?
Exactly. Like, why sit around and talk about the type of woman you don't want?
Yeah,
there's so much energy and things that you could be doing getting the kind of woman you do want.
But the one that you want, not the one that you don't want. I'm not concerned about the women I don't want. I could care less.
And why sit around and talk about the women you don't want, or that are not suitable for you, or that are not suitable? That's another thing. I really do believe a lot of these nerds, it wasn't so much about the woman thing. I'm telling you, the misogyny was not the issue. The issue was a lot of the men that he's charging $50 a month to be in his Hustlers University, to lay down the rules that he's given this drill sergeant approach to, cannot handle it. They cannot handle it. They don't want to be accountable. They don't want to have to change. They can't do it. They don't think it's possible. Even when he was talking about the short guy thing. How far do you have to go? You're even telling men that most women will say, oh, no, he's too short. That it really isn't about the height. It really is about you as a complete package. And this is why he's actually, and I think there are a lot of men out there that cannot handle that. They cannot follow the program. They can't get with the program. They can't work out. They're too lazy. They're too addicted to video games. They don't want to get out and get a breath of fresh air. They don't want to listen to him. And so they decided to tear him down.
You have a point, Abby. You have a point. All right. Well, basically, I'm gonna show another video, but I'm gonna give my closing thoughts. I'm just gonna run off with that video afterwards. I mean, after my closing thoughts, and I'm gonna show the video. It's like about 9 minutes, and that video, he's discussing about, you a man, you're supposed to protect the woman. How you gonna let the woman go downstairs if someone's breaking in the
You
house?
gonna play that video?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I
Donna,
don't know
go
why.
ahead, bring.
I
But
just gotta
look,
play it. I gotta
tell
play
me
it.
that kind of guy that he shamed publicly, that is also a content creator, would not be working against him. He embarrassed him. Him and his brother embarrassed that type of man. And he probably had, there's a lot of men that think exactly the way that other guy does. Like, I'm a real coward. And if something really went down, I know as a man, I couldn't defend her and I couldn't do this. And they're cowards and they're weaklings and they're all of this and they can't handle it.
He should just admit that. But I'm going to show you the full video because I saw the full video when that happened. That was just a clip because the brother, Tristan Tate, seen the video and he was like, "Yo, what's going on?"
And
That's
what
when
about the guy they're talking about? This guy that they showed the video. This is one.
I'm going to send you the full video.
He's a content creator as well. So
yeah, he's
wonder what it says about him.
Whatever.
And wonder now why they want to go to Twitch. They decided to start going over this, and he said, these men over here need me because this is the mindset that we're dealing with on a larger scale. These video gaming guys,
a bunch of insane.
These video gaming guys are so out of touch with reality. They think their girlfriends are superheroes or something. What are you, nuts? And what kind of man is sitting around here saying, well, my girlfriend, she's this. Wait a minute, even if she's all of that, why aren't you saying, yeah, it's my responsibility to fight if an intruder comes in my house and she's just the icing on the cake? See, that's the problem. See how it immediately goes to she'll take care of it? Like mommy, you can hide under her skirt. What kind of vibes are we giving? What kind of vibes is men giving us? And we're not even cluing into this crap.
When I was watching that full video, I said, this dude got to be joking. And even like his brother Tristan's, was like he thought it was a joke, but they realized no, this guy's serious. So that was his reaction to the video. So I'm going to show that reaction to it, but I'm going to send you Abby the full video in case you want to look at it because that was like, oh my gosh. But basically, I'm going to show that video. If y'all need to leave, because I know I had y'all here forever. This next clip I'm going to show you is like about 9 minutes, and this is basically with
I want to watch
Tate. Good, thank you. It's basically Andrew Tate talking about a situation that he's dealing with one of those Twitch gamers, and the situation he was saying a scenario if somebody's breaking in the house and you and your girlfriend is upstairs, what would you do?
But I do want to say something to Jack before, just in case Jack has to leave us. Yes. Jack, I want to thank you so much for the thirst trap picture and giving us all of that today. We're loving it. Thank you.
I knew y'all would fall for it.
Are we that easy, Jack? Are we just that easy? Giving us thirst trap pictures, making us feel yeah. You wanted to come and be our Andrew Tate for the night? We liking it. We loving it, Jack.
I mean, it depends on the man y'all want.
No, I think it's a great show of support, Jack, and I think it's a good energy, and I think you could learn a lot. I think from him, you're there already, Jack. But I think if you know what you're feeling and you take the good and leave the bad, so be it. And I love that you're out here supporting my brother. Yes, absolutely.
But what was I going to say? So basically, how I feel is this man should never been banned. As a woman, I don't think he said anything wrong. I think he's respectful to women. He's just one of those old school, a woman has their role and a man has their role. Women is more of the nurturer, loving and understanding whatever. And then the man is more the provider and the protector. That's all he's basically saying. This is what he grew up. This is what he see, and this is what he feels supposed to be. But nowadays, a lot of women want to be the man, and a lot of men want to be the woman. And that's where problems start happening in relationships. You start having conflicts. I mean, each his own. If y'all want to do that, well, hey, I can't tell nobody what to do, what they want to do in a relationship. But that's when conflicts start to happen because you know what? If you want to get into the Bible and what God wants, that's not really what he wants. Okay? But I'm not going to go into detail on that one. So anybody has to leave. I completely understand, but I'm going to show this 9-minute clip. because I think it's very interesting, then close out with that one. But thank you everybody for being here. I truly appreciate it because I know it's a long one. And have yourself a great and a blessed night. Oh, but also stay tuned for what's happening Sunday, because Sunday I will. Oh shoot! I guess I remember this one. Are you there, Abby? Hope you're there. Sunday.
Is this the right one? Yeah, this is the right one. You know what? My phone went dead. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I got you. So Sunday I'm going to be showing a video, and it's going to be his brother. Let me show the brother right here.
Yeah, I don't hear that much about his brother, and I think it's kind of interesting. They are like a little duo in business and everything, but they don't talk about banning his brother. Or did they ban him as well? So you have to do the research on
They
that
didn't
one.
ban the brother. But this is the
Interesting.
brother here. This is his brother, Tristan Tate. And so we're going to be getting into Tristan Tate on Sunday. And it's a video I'm going to show, and Tristan's going to he's going to express his views on what's the difference between being a gentleman and a simp. And that's a problem
that's my
happened
favorite one,
online.
Donna.
And I think that was a great video. I think it was phenomenal. And well, Abby and I is going to be doing a reaction towards that video. So hopefully you can come Sunday and enjoy, watch it. If you can't do that Sunday,
Absolutely.
there's always a replay. You can watch
Absolutely.
the replay. All right.
Yeah, but the one about that's going to be a good one because you know how I feel about simps.
Mm-hmm.
That whole simp
Tristan Tate,
mentality. The analogy of what's a simp. Yeah, I'm getting tired of hearing it too.
So Tristan Tate, we're going to be on you Sunday. So we're going to focus on you, Tristan Tate. Yes. We got to show you some love. Okay, brother, we got to show you some love. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you need to leave, I completely understand, but thank you for being here. I truly appreciate it. And let me share the screen now. We're going to get into that clip. That was so hilarious. Oh, and before I show the clip, I'm so sorry. I need to read the poll. Let me do the poll. I'm going to do the poll real quick. Okay. All right, we're going to get into the poll. What does the poll say? What was the poll? Oh, my computer want to be slow. Just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The poll here, we have 19 votes. And the question is, do you feel Andrew Tate deserves to be banned? 21% says, of course, Donna. 58% says, absolutely not. And 21% says, not sure. So thank you for voting, sharing your thoughts. I appreciate it. You have yourself a blessed night. And now let's get into this video, girl. This is crazy.
Okay.
Let's go.
Because we are live on Twitch right now, probably with 0 viewers. But I watched your Twitch stream, Andrew, and I came out of it when I saw you afterwards, and I said, Andrew, you need to be on Twitch because you need to help these people. I think the people who you're actually talking to, Aiden Ross is pretty base, and I think he sees the light, and he needs some coaching. I'm happy to hang out with the guy. A few of the other people you were talking to, I think they're beyond fixing. But the fact that they command audiences of hundreds of thousands of young men who idolize them and wish to be like them, I feel like you need to be on Twitch because I feel like this audience of lost young men who are going to grow up with bad, poisonous ideas need a voice like yours, maybe a voice like mine, that older brother kind of voice to talk to them and to tell them about how the world really works. So I don't remember the guy's name. Apparently he's super famous, but I watched this podcast. And am I right? This guy was saying in hypothetical scenarios, you and your girl are upstairs in your house, someone breaks in, who goes downstairs to confront the burglars? He started coming up with hypotheticals that his girl was a super soldier and might be a better shot than him, and they negotiate who goes downstairs to confront the people who broke into the house. And like, Andrew, was that guy an actor? Was he an actor? Was he trolling you? Tell me, you spoke to the guy. I watched it. I thought he was making fun first. No, I'm going to survive. Well, and let your woman die? Because I obviously have never broken into anyone's house, but if you understand what a house break-in is, they're breaking in to steal shit. If they're downstairs, they're coming upstairs because that's where the good shit is. There is no hiding and negotiating with your woman. Someone is going to have to confront the burglars, and that person is going to be me in 100% of scenarios. Me with a woman, 100% of scenarios, I'm going down to confront the burglars. Now, this guy I think he was trolling you, and he must have been making it up.
No, Twitch is important for me because there's a lot of people on Twitch who need my help. I'm sent from another dimension. I call myself Morpheus, saying I'm hacking the Matrix, but you can say it's the CERN wormhole, wherever you want to call it.
It is the wormhole.
I'm from another dimension, and I'm here to help the young men of the world. Good. It's amazing to me that young men will sit on Twitch and play video games all day long and spend all of their time trying to amass virtual currency so that they can spend that virtual currency becoming as big, strong, rich, important as possible. But in the real world,
video games.
In video games. But in the real world, they don't do the exact same thing. You're supposed to amass currency, and you're supposed to use your time cleverly to upgrade your character.
IRL.
Life is a video game. You don't need the games in and of themselves. And I have nothing against the guys I've been twitching with, but you're right. There's a very, very strange worldview where a man has no fundamental duty and no innate responsibility to defend a female who he loves in the event of a house break-in. Once you stand there and say, well, she might be a better shot to me, that is the biggest cop-out BS.
Well, his girlfriend is not a police officer. She's a Twitch streamer. His girlfriend is not an army super soldier. She's a Twitch streamer. I Googled who his girlfriend was.
Correct.
So why was he saying this?
And that's the point. So it's actually a very dangerous worldview where men have no duty and no responsibility, because the only thing that keeps the only thing that keeps the world functioning is when men have duty and responsibility to doing the hard things they're not supposed to do because they are men in and of itself. That's the reason it's women and children first on the lifeboat. The problem with the world today is that not enough men feel this duty. And this is a person with a huge influence, a huge channel, trying to broadcast and convince the world that you have no innate responsibility as a man. And I disagree with that. Also, we were disagreeing on the fact about women and how women should act in respect. He was saying that I was fearful for my girl to go to a club. It's not about that. It's not about fear. It's about respect. And you was recently highlighted in the super chat we got earlier on that his chick is dancing on some other dude.
Yeah, in fact, that's bad.
That's
bad.
Well, is that respectful?
Well, I feel like he has to. Now I understand why he was defending this ridiculous behavior so fervently. Because, I mean, well, this is fine.
I mean, we don't know the context. We don't know if they're still together.
Andrew, I am your best friend. If your girl tried to dance,
and like I said, I watched a long form video of this whole thing, and there was a guy that was talking, but he didn't show his face. I didn't know who it was, and he was basically defending this Twitch gamer, like, you defending him, not going downstairs and protecting his woman. So this is the guy he's talking about. So he looked up the other guy that was talking, and look at your girlfriend. Resume.
She don't look like she could fight nothing.
I'd push her the fuck over.
Oh, no. It wasn't. Andrew was talking to a guy who's a gamer. And they was talking. Andrew gave him a scenario of somebody breaking the house, what you would do.
And is this the gamer's girlfriend?
No. That's what I'm saying. He was talking to the gamer, and he talked to that gamer. But there was another person. It was like 4 people. Like, you know how it's us on here, right?
Right.
But there was one person that didn't show themselves, but he was actually kind of defending the gamer. Like, I understand if he don't want to go downstairs. And Andrew's like, yo, what the hell is wrong with these dudes?
Right.
So here go Tristan. He pulled up that mystery guy and talking about, look at him. He just is just an idiot too. Look at him. His girlfriend is playing him. There's something wrong with this young generation.
No, she's getting attention from other men.
Yeah.
In a room full of, she's in a room with other men and a camera and doing all this to get it. She's dancing with him, but she's doing it to get attention and eyeballs of other men. And he would be beside himself if his girlfriend ever did this.
You got it.
This is definitely not an Andrew Tate type of girl.
I resume.
Right, Jack?
Yeah, no, we would never be with those.
Obviously.
But my point is, like, maybe they weren't together. Maybe this is old. Let's keep it.
I don't know.
We don't know because we just found out. But I don't think that's a respectful way for a girlfriend to act if she was with me. And the point we're making is the point I was trying to make at the time is about respect. It's not just about. You tried to say it was about fear. It was nothing to do with fear. It's about respect, setting boundaries as a man, and being respected. I come along and I try and teach men to level themselves up, be confident, be strong, understand the true reality of the world, make sure that you have imperatives which suit your narrative, make sure you have parameters which prevent you from being disrespected and ending up being sad and lonely like most men do.
Mm-hmm.
He comes along and tries to argue against all of my points. And every single point he argued against, I guarantee you, if anyone here is curious or doesn't believe me, if you would agree with his worldview above mine, you will end up fucking miserable. The dude is a Twitch streamer. He makes a bunch of money with he doesn't need any physicality. He doesn't need any formidability. Yeah. He doesn't need anything. Great. He's in a very fortunate situation. For most men out here, you need to be able to go through some shit to become something.
Bro, just go downstairs. Well, but if you're watching XQC, just go downstairs, bro. Your house got broken into. You're the man. Just go downstairs. Your girl is not a super soldier. We just saw her dancing there. She's clearly not G.I. Jane. Yeah. Go downstairs and try to save your household and try to save your woman.
And I think that Twitch is like an untapped resource. I feel like I can really help men by being on Twitch. That's why I do these Twitches. And I hope that when I do them, I sit there and I talk to men and I explain, look, you're wasting all your time leveling up a video game instead of leveling up yourself. Look, these people you idolize on Twitch may be very good at video games, but their worldview is not going to translate well into the real world. They're very, very fortunate. They've effectively won the lottery. And if you're going to go through life thinking, I don't need to be strong and I don't need to protect a woman, and she can go downstairs and you're going to live a good life without Twitch fame and Twitch money, you are fucked. As a man, you need to become hard to kill, and you need to become the kind of person who can deal with trauma, setbacks. You need to be the kind of person who is competent in all realms. You're not going to do that following the advice that these men give. That's why I appear from another fucking dimension to save all of you. Top G, like a superhero. And when I was doing the Twitch streams, I was amazed. I was really amazed at the worldviews these men have. And if they weren't Twitch streamers, they would perpetually fail because you cannot be a successful man with their worldview.
No, you can't. And and he probably has enough money to hire a bunch of security guards, and he'll never find himself in that situation. But the hundreds of thousands of people watching him, you know, he's living in America. Saying, "Oh, what kind of weird circumstance is that? Someone tries to rape your girl." Oh, what? You mean the country with the highest rape in the first world? Like, what kind of hypothetical situation is that? And you're not going to defend your woman? You're going to run away like a coward? That's never been who we are. That's never been who we are. So, I fought to defend you. When people try and start on you, I'll attack people. And you're my brother. I can't hang around with people with that mindset. The people you care about are always worth defending. And as a man, you have to do that.
You have to do it. And it's actually quite telling because I'll make
it's sad.
It's sad.
It's
because
sad.
What the problem is with a man, the problem is being a coward as a man makes you absolutely useless. You can be big and strong, doesn't matter if you're a coward. You can be rich, doesn't matter if you're a coward.
I don't hang around with cowards.
I don't hang around with cowards because cowards have no net benefit in an unfortunate situation. Why would you be friends with a guy when everything's going well? He can party in the club, drink bottles, fuck girls, everything's going well. But the second things go negative, he's going to allow you to die and he's going to run away. Why are you his friend? Fun. And I also made another point on these streams. I think it was on the Dave Portnoy BFF podcast I just did. I made a point. Birds of a feather flock together. The only people who roll with cowards are fucking cowards themselves. Yeah. Anyone who's a G rolls with Gs. If you come up on me and my team, we either all die or nobody dies. That's how it works. There is none of this shit. None of us are running away. We don't care if we're outnumbered. Don't care if you have weapons and we don't. We all die or nobody dies.
Those 7 dudes who I attacked for sitting on the car, there were 7 of them. Like 3 of them froze in fear. Why are you not helping your boys out when Tristan Tate's punching them in the face? Like, I mean, I know you were in the wrong. Your friends were in the wrong sitting on my car, but like, you're just going to let your friends get sparked? I mean, I was ready to fight everybody.
The dudes and promoting cowardice to the internet is something that's been happening for a long time. It's something he's doing, and I am the antidote. So
it's not cool.
It's not cool.
And he needs help.
And he's a nice guy, but you know, he has plenty of money. He should come to me and say, look, I have plenty of money. How do I become the man? I have unlimited money, unlimited time. Andrew, help me. And I will help him. And he will change as an individual when he wakes up and he's no longer afraid to go downstairs. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying don't have an adrenaline rush. I'm not saying don't be nervous, of course, but pull the strap and go and fucking defend your house. That's the whole point. To be a man and sit there and start having a negotiation with your female about who a better shot is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's not even something you can half entertain. And I think the world knows that. The whole internet knows that. It's fine. But it's amazing that I've had to come from another dimension to point out the very fucking basics of masculinity. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Exactly. Basic. That's what I say. He's a very basic man. And I think men are trying to be way too more complicated nowadays because they don't want to look at themselves and they want to look at the outside world as a reason for why they're failing. And that's the problem. It's just a basic thing.
I totally agree. And I like what he was preaching, and I just don't see what is he saying that's negative, and he's making men crazy. These young men, they starting to be violent towards women. I don't see it at all.
Wonder about that. They have enough courage to fight a woman, but not another man. And I think that's where we're coming. That's where what we're seeing here with this, right? A coward, of course. And what we're seeing in this country and what he's saying about the rape culture, it's all about power. But it's not power against another man. It's all about power against women. And that's where that comes from. And this is why I think it's kind of interesting that he is addressing the fact, yes, Andrew, I see you, honey. Is that you? You know, Donna be a bit thirst trapping every goddamn body.
He's trying to figure out what's wrong with y'all, man. I don't get it.
Exactly. I get it. And I can understand why he would not want to surround himself with other men that are just not on his level. Who would? And I also think that he is surrounded by men that are not on his level, who can't get on his level. And that's why they'll fight him and they'll bring him down. I do believe that everything that happened to him was not a product of misogyny, but was a product of cowardice. These are not the men that he could really have in his circle and in his war room and all of these other places where they have to level up. That is not. No, absolutely. And those are the type of guys that will use their nerdist. And what did they do? They did it with the internet, with little clips. And they knew what they were doing. And I do believe, like I said, it was a bigger power structure. And I do believe the world of psychiatry might have been a little upset with him as well.
You have a point. And like we said, he wasn't born with a golden spoon, ladies and gentlemen, in his mouth. So it's like, oh, dude, you don't understand. No, he does understand.
And one thing I do understand about him, about being different, he is biracial. That has a lot to do with it. He's more Black identified than his brother in his appearance, and he knows it. And I think that has a lot to do with the places that he's been living, the culture that he's been living in, the people that he's approaching, the people that he's working with. He is not part of the Black manosphere, and his whole trajectory is totally different. He's not sitting around here starting a gender war. And he's not sitting around here bashing women on a regular basis to the point of comical relief. And he's not sitting around begging for cash apps. He's having them be involved in a university, a teaching moment, a teachable moment, not just Patreon where I can go and just drag women somewhere else off the internet so I don't get banned. So I don't know what he could have possibly said about women. I have yet to see it. I don't want to hear about this little whip it, spank it moment that he had with his girlfriend, because I already have my theories on why that went down. And I do believe that he is very different. He's a rare bird. And I do understand that. I do understand the kind of hate that you get. And the later on, everybody comes to their realization that you're a good thing, but all they want to do is hate on you so they can copy you. And that's all it'll be. The future will be another guy speaking the same that came out of his university or sitting around and studied him only to be him and get the kind of success he has without paying him the respect he's due.
Great point. Well, I'm just going to end on that one. Abby had the closing thought. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Abby. And thank you so much, Jack, for co-hosting.
Always a pleasure, Donna. It's always a pleasure to see you, Jack. Give us more thirst. We're loving it. It's our ladies' night. When is it coming?
Yes, that'll be this Sunday. We're going to get into the brother.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, that'll be good.
We're going to focus on his brother here, Tristan Tate.
And I do like his discussion about this word simp, and definitely something that bugs me.
Because he's gonna break down the difference between being a gentleman and a simp. Because a lot of people says, well, just if you want to find out, just come Sunday. And if you can't make it that Sunday, it's always a replay. So there's just no excuse. So please watch it.
Good night to the chat.
I think it's Sunday I think I said it for 5:15 or 5:30 Eastern time. I'm not sure, something like that. But just look it up. You'll be able to find it. And I'll definitely put out, the post. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Always have a great time with you, and love to the chat.
And thank you.
Oh, Pam Money, I see you, girl. I haven't seen you in a minute. King Art, yeah. Art, bring the receipts, bring the evidence, give it to Donna. We want to see it.
All right, so thank you. Would I miss anything? Oh, I think I did put Pam. So Pam. But like I said, thank you. So to see y'all Sunday. So hopefully see you Sunday. If not, I can see you on the replay and share your thoughts. And the topic is, I repeat, will be about what is the difference. Tristan Tate's going to get into the difference between being a gentleman and a simp. And I think a lot of men out here is getting confused because you're listening to the wrong people on this social media. A lot of them. And it's so sad. Oh, well. All right. Everybody have this as a blessed night and a great night. And I appreciate y'all being here. Love y'all. Remember, date smart, not thirsty. Because when you date thirsty, you're going to be a target of being used and abused. Always remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Bye.